Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarouche.
And thank God we fought kids earlier, so we knew how to beat up a child later on.
Yeah. Good for us. Welcome to Book Club at a random time and date and not place. This is where we usually do it.
Yep.
What?
I just can't believe that I read that as a sentence. Like, I've never read a book where, like, I'm supposed to root for the protagonist and he says shit like,
Glad I beat up
thank
some
God
kids.
I beat up those kids. Like, it's a way to, like, make the final fight not feel good.
I mean, I felt great. Johnny Coleman, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for that super chat, Johnny Coleman. Johnny Coleman also has put in some commissions for some Way of Kings audiobook reactions.
We're going to be listening to like half of that book.
Yeah. Right now, we are doing audiobook reactions to the prologue, commissioned by Arzu, Chapter 11, commissioned by Johnny Coleman and Arzu, then Chapter 13 and Chapter 27 by Lagan, then 35 by Helios, Johnny Coleman's back with Chapter 36, Arzu's back with Chapter 51, then Chapter 57 is Helios, then 67, 68, and 69 are the free reaction Johnny Coleman. So, join the membership, get on the Patreon. There's going to be a lot to watch us listen to.
This is going to be wild.
Or you can watch us listen to the epilogue of this book as well as the bloopers. The bloopers were fun. That was for YouTube members and Patreons as well. Thank you to everyone who's doing that. You are mad lads.
Honestly, yeah. That was the bloopers were a good time. I appreciated that.
But before we get into the show today, we got to remind you that this podcast is brought to you by MistyMountainGaming.com. MistyMountainGaming.com is technically a website, but it's more than that. It is
a family, like a giant tree.
Okay, not where I was going, but cool.
Branching out towards the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you go to MistyMountainGaming.com, you too can roll dice as smooth as Vin Diesel's forehead, and honestly the rest of his head, as you and your family attempt to save the universe, much like his family does from his brother and his half-brother and other family members who return from the past to the future in the ever more confusing timeline that is the Fast and the Furious franchise.
And drink lime beer.
Yeah, what?
Yeah. You drink it with a lime, right? That's like the thing.
I thought you meant that you thought Corona was like naturally lime flavored.
Well, I'm assuming it like complements lime flavor.
Sure. Do you want to roll more nat 20s than the Fast and the Furious franchise? Sorry, can't do it. It's impossible. They have more luck than any D&D game ever will. But if you want to roll worse than the characters in the Fast and the Furious franchise, go to MistyMountainGaming.com and buy the best looking dice so that when your characters don't pull off the crazy thing where the like rope gets stuck in the tire and then they Tarzan the car across the chasm, when your character falls to your death there, at least you rolled something beautiful.
Yeah.
MistyMountainGaming.com. Get a 15% off coupon that you can use as many times as you want using coupon code nerdynightly15. That's right.
Unlimited
15% off. Once per purchase.
Yeah.
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 Terms and conditions apply.
You could make a bunch of purchases or you can make one purchase. It probably wouldn't matter.
But the one condition that doesn't apply, the speed limit. Because we're a family.
I don't get how families are exempt from speed limits.
No, not all families, just that family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So if I like joined the cast in the Fast and the Furious, I could like speed whenever I wanted?
I mean, don't do that. I feel like I don't want to make the darkest joke, but the darkest joke there is like Paul Walker taught us that lesson.
Oh God, no!
Sorry.
No!
Maybe only speed in the movies.
God damn it. I don't know
what?
where that went.
Hey, it's responsible. Arzu, thank you so much for gifting memberships.
Memberships,
Arzu,
up.
you can't put Arzu gifts memberships on the bingo card and then do it yourself and then call it yourself. That's too. You're abusing the bingo system.
Nah, it's fine. Also, from what I understand, I think there's like multiple bingo cards. Like there's like
I've got no fucking clue.
So many options that it's like randomized.
Yeah, no, I am predictable, and you will all hit bingo every week because I hit the same Beats. Let's talk about Cradle, Unsouled on a Thursday afternoon. Sorry for the time switch. I have an audition tomorrow, and for the first time in months, it's in person. So I have to actually go somewhere and meet people.
That is crazy, guys. If you know anything about the industry currently, an in-person audition is insane.
And an in-person audition for a theater is one thing, but an in-person audition for a TV show is like unheard of in modern times.
I mean, it's pretty great. I remember the one that I like kind of booked and then it fell apart. That one was in person.
That was 3 years ago though.
No, 2. Because that was Star Wars Celebration.
2021. Yeah, it was 3 years ago.
No, 2022.
No, it was Anaheim. It wasn't London.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was 3 years ago.
No, it'd be 2022.
Nope.
Because we skipped 2024. So 2023 was London and 2022 was Anaheim.
Jesus.
Yeah, math.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah. I was like, there's no fucking way. Anyways, in-person auditions.
Anyway, not important.
Are great. We love
Just
them.
Weird.
We miss them. They're better for you. Honestly, you got better chances of walking in there in person than sending a fucking tape.
Austin Arminio says, "Can you give us a hint? Tell us." No, actually, I don't know what it is, so I can't tell you.
Isn't that fun? That's the. RC, thank you.
Yeah.
For the super chat.
I had a self tape for Gen V this week though.
Yeah, that's fun.
I can say that. That doesn't matter. I'm not going to tell you what it was.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I had a self tape for a superhero show, so that was fun.
I love that.
Yeah. The only reason I'm willing to say this is because I did not get it. I can guarantee watching my own tape that I was like, I'm not booking this one.
I also don't know if they're gonna watch our Cradle book club, so it doesn't matter. I like the good luck nerdy fund.
Thank you for the super chat, Arzu.
That's awesome.
All right, let's talk about Cradle though. That's clearly what we're here to talk about. Cradle, Unsouled, Book 1, second half, Clarus. What did you think of it?
Well, I much prefer the second half of this book, for sure. Felt like I actually understood what the series was about.
Yeah.
More so than the first half of the book.
Yeah.
In the second half of the book, I was like, oh, all the things that, didn't really make sense to me in the first half of this book, don't really seem like they're relevant because, the way that everything works in this valley is actually incorrect.
Which is what I said in book club last week. And you were like, no, you're wrong. And I was right.
Yeah, that's not my favorite thing, is a bunch
when
of,
I'm right?
Yes, I hate when you're right.
That's not my favorite thing.
It's not my favorite thing when a book, sets up a bunch of stuff and then it's gotcha, just kidding.
I think it's tough when you do that with a magic system.
Yeah.
But there's no magic system here. Because there's no actual system to it, right? The magic system is just nonsense.
It's just kind of, you can do, whatever you want.
And before people are stop calling it nonsense. That means bad. I also call Superman nonsense, and I love Superman stories. Right? Superman is fucking nonsense. Whereas
fair.
Batman isn't nonsense. I can follow what's going on in a Batman story on a scientific level usually until you get into Clayface.
Yeah.
Right? But Superman is nonsense.
Right.
The Flash is nonsense.
Yeah.
People hear me say that word and they're like, that you're just saying that it's bad, and I'm not. I'm saying that it's nonsense, and you have to get past the fact that it's nonsense to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I was able to get past the nonsense of this magic system and enjoy the second half more than I was in the first half.
Yeah, because the first half felt more technical.
Yes.
It was saying things that I was I don't know what that means. But okay.
But also the larger magic systems get, the more nonsensical they are, right?
Yes.
And it's something that Brandon Sanderson does so well, is that there is a genuine magic system that if you really take some time to figure out, you can figure out how a character's doing something. And in the second half of this book, the girl cycles her mantra really good, and then all of the swords nearby blow up. And that doesn't make any fucking sense. There's no...
Sure, yeah.
There is no possible thing there.
Yeah.
So it's just, oh, yeah, sure. I guess she can make every sword explode within a certain range. That to me is that's fun. It's not intelligent. It's base in a way. But it rocks. It's a great moment. And so you're on board with it, right?
Yeah, and I don't think that... I don't think for something to be good that it has to be complicated and it has to be a hard magic system.
Not at all.
I think like there are great soft magic systems that are like incredibly fun to read, and like it's less about how the magic works and more about like the world and the people, and that's awesome. Gordon Chen, thank you for the super chat. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
MP, welcome back to the Nerd Table for 4 months. And since you saw my comment on first week's VOD, it's kind of long, but if you have time when you get to the full book read, can you take a look?
I'll take a look at it. Yeah, I'll try and find it.
If Nerdy remembers, it'll happen. I have memory loss where when the camera turns off, I don't remember anything that happens.
Guys, I'm not saying that the book won't try and justify it. Because Chloe Root says, like, there is, though, she has sword Madra, and her cycling it causes resonance with sharp objects in the area. I don't get how that's nonsense. What you just said is nonsense.
Sentence is like absurd.
That is an insane,
and
nonsensical sentence for a magic system.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like, because let's start at sword Madra, right? Like, what is that? Right?
Yeah, like I thought Madra was like a soul, so
but
like
swords aren't real.
Souls.
Swords aren't alive.
And also like
the whole first half of this book sets up that like if a living thing lives long enough, it can gather up its Madra. But like if you're telling me that I can create dildo Madra because that is as real a thing as sword Madra could be, nothing makes sense.
Yeah, because swords don't exist naturally without humanity like forging them, right?
I'm just saying that, like, you by saying that sword Madra can exist, you are saying nonsense can exist, right? Like, you're saying that, like, we can do anything because... Yeah. And
it's
that
fantasy.
Is evidenced by the fact that a god appeared and rewound time before flying off to another galaxy and exploding a planet with a sword. That's nonsense.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's fun.
Sick as fuck. The anime is gonna look really cool.
But like at that point, the magic system is fuck it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We definitely have like in book 1 introduced that like basically anything is possible. And I think that for anything to be possible, it's really difficult to have hard and fast rules.
Yeah,
like,
no, 100%.
Like it just... I don't know how you do that, and I can't think of any examples of it. So I'm gonna say that that's like a really tough thing to accomplish. And like there is nothing wrong with like, you know, it's like how I imagine Dragon Ball Z. From what the minimum that you have told me of it, it's like people have power and power do stuff.
Yeah, but Dragon Ball Z is very similar to this. Right? We're like there's like reasons why people get more powerful in Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. They don't make any sense.
Right.
Like they really don't. Like the fact that Goku can go to a chamber in the sky where time moves slower so that he can become more powerful without aging is like, I guess.
All right, cool.
But Gohan goes there and ages super fast. It's
sure.
Dragon Ball Z
Spoilers for Dragon Ball Z.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
It's why power scaling, people who like get obsessed with anime power scaling are the biggest time wasters in the universe. Because it is literal nonsense.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about power scaling things that just can't functionally be compared when they're like, well, is All Might better than Goku? And it's like, they're not real.
Yeah. And that's fine. Like that is okay. I just felt like I think the combination of coming out of Brandon Sanderson stuff into like, and also so the combination of Brandon Sanderson plus the book in the first half, like I felt like it was trying to make it not nonsense in a way. Like I think that's where I got confused, and it's why I like the second half of the book better, is because it's just kind of whatever. Lindon doesn't have a proper understanding of the world and how Madra works or any of that. And so, like, as the audience member, I am able to let go a little bit and be like, well, if my main characters don't understand how it works, then it's okay that I don't, right?
Well, but okay, this is what I want to say. Okay. Arzu says you will learn how it works as Lindon does. Right now, everything he knows is wrong. So, okay.
Yes.
I understand.
Thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for the super chat. I understand how Superman flies. right? He absorbs the energy of a yellow sun, and it gives him the ability to fly.
Yeah.
That does not make any sense. It is nonsense. I accept it because Superman stories are fun and the emotional narrative. Like, I will accept all the nonsense in the world for the emotional narrative of All-Star Superman, right?
Sure.
Right nonsense. Spider-Man is fucking nonsense. He gets spider powers which allow him to climb, but then he wears shoes and gloves over the thing that allows him to climb. Any Spider-Man story where Spider-Man's feet and hands aren't exposed makes no fucking sense. How would he climb if the fucking things in his fingers aren't fucking sticking into the wall? It is insane. It makes no sense, but I accept it because the suit is dope as fuck. And I would rather have a dope as fuck suit.
Yes.
And accept some nonsense.
Yeah.
I'm saying that, like, I'm accepting the nonsense. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that, like, explaining this system more doesn't make it not nonsense. It just means that you came up with a bunch of bullshit to, like, try and get the audience a little bit more on board with what is essentially fun nonsense, right?
Yeah.
I don't... the magic system in Harry Potter is... Well, that's not a good one, because it's a bad magic system. But...
True.
It is nonsense. I get how it works, right? Like, I understand you point your wand and something happens. The fact that Harry Potter has a magic system with literally no cost is not great, but
definitely not like a great example of that. And here's the thing: there are 14 books, right? Yeah. The magic, I believe will make a little bit more sense as we go along. Like, you know, when you read, if you pick up a comic book for the first time and someone's got fucking superpowers, as long as like it's consistent enough within further comics, you can understand how he's doing what he's doing in that first one. As long as, like, the world, it's in and of itself keeps it consistent, right? And so you feel like you have a better grasp on how it works and that kind of thing. And, like, so I feel like as we read more books, we will understand how it works if it's consistent.
I don't know how it could be consistent, because it's already so inconsistent.
Well, I don't know how you can have inconsistency with anything is possible.
But that's what there is no consistency here, right? Like Sword Madra and like Dream Madra both existing is like, sure, yeah. But there's no consistency between those two things. They have nothing in common. Like, Dream Madra doesn't make dreams explode. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it is just kind of like whatever is in the moment. Also, clearly the person who wrote this is a big fan of Dragon Ball Z.
Which haven't seen, so I'm happy for you.
They get a flying cloud, which is like the most Dragon Ball shit ever. It's so Dragon Ball that it's in Fortnite.
Yeah.
Like,
that's so true.
The references in this book are popping off.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the flying cloud. When we went through the list of like magic items, I was like, oh god, I'm gonna have to go back and read this so I remember all these items and what they do, because I'm sure they're gonna be important.
Will Wight loves anime, but he specifically loves like 90s. How old is he?
Oh, cue lawnmowers. They knew we moved book club to today, I guess.
These fuckers. These fuckers. How old is Will Wight? Because I'm willing to bet he and I grew up on the same anime. He's 34. Yeah. Will Wight and I grew up on the same television.
Yeah. I see it.
Because it's all here, right? Like, this is Naruto with Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
With it. This is, yeah. It makes sense that we're the same age. Because we have the same, like, cultural touchstones on what he is referencing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You're like, oh, I can see the inspiration for this, which is fun. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Okay, should we just get into where we left off? Lindon.
Yeah. Lindon has just beat up a bunch of children. And he's feeling pretty good about it.
What a hero.
I'm going to keep making this joke because it's funny, but like within the world of the story, I understand it. I know why it's there and it makes sense.
Oh, he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
No, he definitely doesn't have a choice.
But it's just
still hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's just hilarious that later in the book he's like, I am so grateful that I beat up those kids so that I know how to beat up this adult in a child's body.
Yes, we appreciate that.
Chloe, thank you for that super chat. Nerdy, you are confusing shared inspirations with Will Wight being influenced by anime. Almost all of the things you're mentioning are anime influence coming from Chinese fantasy literature. I am willing to bet that Will Wight, being of the same age as me, is more likely to have grown up on Dragon Ball than he is to have grown up on Chinese fantasy literature. I don't think I'm confused. I think that I am more correct in saying that him being 34 and white and
in North America,
North America, he and I probably grew up watching the same television on Saturday mornings. I don't think I'm confused. I think that it is a fair bet that the most popular show for boys my age is probably something that he saw at the same time that I was watching it.
Yeah, I think he can have multiple influences.
Sure, and I'm sure that he found Chinese fantasy literature, but I'm not going to lie to you. In the 90s, there wasn't a lot of access to Chinese fantasy literature in the way that Dragon Ball Z had a fucking grip on the playgrounds of America.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You turn on the TV and it's...
There was no playground in North America where there weren't 3 nerdy-ass white boys running around yelling Kamehameha every fucking day. And so, sure, I'm sure he's read Chinese fantasy literature. I have no doubt about that. Yeah. But in terms of, what my generation of white boys is nostalgic about from the 90s... No, but seriously.
Sure, yeah.
Him so deeply referencing Naruto and so clearly referencing Dragon Ball in the way that he has, based on the fact that we probably have a very similar... These were the most popular things in our life at this time, I just would be genuinely shocked if he had
wasn't never seen them. You know what I mean? I'm sure that he has.
He didn't reference Naruto though. He might think that he didn't reference Naruto, but he did.
Well, and that's tough.
He created a secret valley with a bunch of factions that channel their ki into their superpowers. That the main character comes from a faction with a many-tailed fox.
But that's so difficult because nothing is original anymore. You can't write anything without someone already having done it.
Sure. I just think that I think that it's hard to be this is the most popular thing in the world when you were growing up, and you even if you're not intentionally referencing it, Naruto's so big that to be unaware of it is harder than to be aware of it.
Sure. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I just think that when your story takes place in a world that is clearly when you're clearly inspired by Eastern storytelling in what you're doing, to say but I wasn't inspired by that thing that was so popular that I couldn't not know about it is weird. Right.
Well, especially if he has said that he is an anime fan. I think if you are an anime fan, there are certain, shows that you just would have seen.
I'm not saying that he ripped any of it off.
No.
I'm not saying... People are saying, ripped it off. I'm not saying he ripped it off. I'm saying that, the inspirations are there. He's written something original here. Yeah. I don't think that this is so Naruto that I feel like the Naruto estate could sue. I don't think that that's true.
Yeah.
But, that was the biggest thing when we were kids. So to say the inspiration is there, Austin Arminio says this fantasy has a dwarf, it's ripping off Snow White. I didn't say it's ripping off Naruto. I'm saying it's inspired by it. Yeah. If you put dwarves in your fantasy, you're probably going to include inspirations from J.R.R. Tolkien. And I don't think that it's unfair to say that almost all modern fantasy owes some level of attribution to J.R.R. Tolkien.
Right.
I think that Wheel of Time does. I think that Cosmere does. Yeah. Cosmere less so. Cosmere definitely less so, just because it doesn't really do the high fantasy thing. But
it's not the high fantasy.
I think that to say that any of these things are not somewhat attributable to the most popular thing when the creators were growing up is just deeply flawed. I will always be, in all of my storytelling, even when I get away from sci-fi inspired by Star Wars, because it was my favorite thing growing up and it's one of the biggest properties in the world. It's really hard to get away from those inspirations.
Right.
And
even if they're subconscious.
Because Will Wight is writing from a place of not being a part of the culture that he is deeply referencing. There's very little Western narrative in this book, right? It is deeply inspired by Eastern storytellings.
Yeah.
And so if you are going to reference Eastern storytellings, it is always from an outsider's perspective. And the Eastern stories that were the most popular in North America at the time are the ones that I'm talking about here, that are very clearly referenced here. So to say
unless Will Wight
grew up in China and what I mean?
Unless Will Wight has come out and been you know what? I've actually never seen this. It was just a weird coincidence that it was very similar or inspired to, then like, okay, like fair enough. But I just think that if this is the time that he grew up in with what was popular, like whether or not it was a conscious influence, that it can be subconscious and it can still be like valid, and it's not a criticism of him in any way. Like
Claire says, except that in that example you're putting Naruto into the role of J.R.R. Tolkien instead of, let's say, Journey to the West. Okay, but Journey to the West wasn't the most popular cartoon in the world when I was a teenager and when Will Wight was a teenager, and Naruto was in the top 3. Like, you got to look at like when people grow up, right? I did not read Dune, and so I was not inspired by Dune until I was an adult, right? Mm-hmm. I did not know Dune until I was an adult. I was inspired by Star Wars. Star Wars was inspired by Dune. And so, yes, you can, like, trace my shit back to Star Wars, but I actually didn't experience Dune for myself until I was in my late 20s.
Right.
So Star Wars for me was my childhood. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that Journey to the West existed when I was a child. Yeah. But I was aware of Naruto because it was the biggest thing. Like, I'm not even a fan of Naruto, and I've still seen parts of it because it was just colloquially and, like, it invaded pop culture in a way that Journey to the West never did. Is Journey to the West a better story? Maybe. You can argue that.
I've literally never heard of Journey to the West.
No one is surprised, babe. No one is surprised. But the prevalence of Naruto at the time is so big that like you can't like, if you're a man my age, there are just things that were bigger than pop culture at the time that were so large. Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Bleach somewhat, but a little bit less so. They were so prevalent that they became part of the zeitgeist in a way that Journey to the West is not a zeitgeisty thing. Like, if you want to reference Journey to the West, the people who are going to pick up on that reference immediately is so much smaller, right, than people who are like, oh, Naruto, that's the ninja show. Right. Right?
Right. Yeah.
It's just, when Will Wight and I were kids, I don't know how to, like, explain how big
I think it would have been, like, very impressive if he had, like, managed to have no connection to that.
Sure.
Like, especially because he has said he is an anime fan, from what I've understood. But, yeah, it's not a criticism.
It's not. It's just there. Like,
I bet if I were to sit down and, like, write a story, it would be heavily influenced by things that I'm not even consciously thinking about.
It would be Aragon. You would write dragons, and
okay, well, I would write dragons. Yes, it
would be girl Aragon.
Yes, maybe.
It would be about a little girl who's a dragon rider. I could, like, probably write what you would write.
Write a novel. I wrote a beginning of a novel when I was like 12, and it was basically girl Aragon. Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
It's very similar. I wasn't original. Yeah. But it was fun, and I had a blast with it.
Yeah. Anyway, all that to say,
I would do that.
You should write it and just call it Girl Aragon.
Girl Aragon.
Never reference that in the book, but the title is just Girl Aragon, and then the book is just like something totally Dragon Rider book unrelated.
No, I couldn't. I would feel, after having, like, met Christopher Paolini, I would feel too weird about it now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Hearn over on Twitch says Gurlagon.
Gurlagon, yes.
Claris Polaris is Gurlagon. No.
I'll just name it Dragon with an E, which is our Discord channel.
I'm gonna start a, like, women's only UFC company called Gurlagon.
Gurlagon?
They're gonna fight in the Gurlagon. Yeah, it's like an octagon, but for girls. And it's pink.
How to Train Your Dragon Girl Aragon? That has a different connotation to it. I don't know if I like that.
How to Train Your Dragon Girl, Aragon. Hey, that's a smut novel that would probably do numbers on Book Talk.
Probably.
Hey, if they're gonna read about a girl milking a minotaur, a book that I bought but have not yet read, but I will do a review on this channel soon. If you can milk a minotaur and the ladies love it, then maybe it is time for How to Train Your Dragon Girl Aragon.
Maybe it is, you know?
So, boom, we need to get back into it and stop talking about inspiration.
Dragon girls.
We're 2 tangents deep already.
I'm shocked. Are you shocked?
I fought with chat. That's got to be on somebody's bingo card. Nerdy just
fights
argues with chat. All right, so here we go. He basically just gets shunted back to the same moment.
Yes.
He's like, fucking fight me, bro.
We actually find out how he planned on using the bees.
Yeah.
It was fine. He walks over to a spot and he can Madra the thing breaking and then coming up. Because they can just fly through things because they're spirit. So, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so the bees.
He just summons bees out of the ground. I'm not gonna lie.
Which would be terrifying. Like, I think if I watched that, I'd be like, what the actual fuck?
Well, the guy does.
Yeah, but he's like, hey, because he's like, I gotta get to the Heaven's Glory School. So he goes over to the child of Heaven's Glory School, and it's like, hey, if I win, can I have a spot in your school? And he's like, ha ha ha. I mean, okay. And so he wins. And
he beats the shit out of the boy with his own spear.
He does.
Which is just
humiliating. But
also, this culture is insane, and the fact that it lives at all is wild.
They're the infant culture, babies.
Yeah.
They have a lot to learn.
Yeah.
It's fine. So that means Lindon gets a spot at the school. He keeps trying to, like, suss out if anyone has any, like, blank memories or whatever. Yeah. He's like, do you remember anything super strange about this day? And everyone's like, the fuck are you talking about? I'm
honestly surprised that the Iron wasn't able to take on some bee remnants.
I think if you got swarmed... Like, I don't know what you would do. If you got swarmed by bees...
I feel like if I have the ability to cycle my Madra at an iron level, which allows me the physical strength. Okay, so if a copper can cycle enough Madra to punch a tree into splinters, right? To kill a tree with a single punch, I feel like an iron should be able to cycle enough Madra to, like, not be hurt by bees.
I mean, the tree was actually real. The bees are... like ghosts.
No, but I mean, like, wouldn't it be able to cycle the pain away?
I don't know.
Dreamshake says, why could he even bring a spear to fight an Unsouled working with a broken arm? That's a great question.
It's for decoration.
It's a really great question.
Yeah.
To be fair, they were Jade level remnants. Oh, right. I missed that they were Jade level.
Because they could, like, actually speak and, like, reason, and, like, Lindon was, like, worried about that. Yeah.
Emberice, what's the other book where, the YA novel where the kid attacks with bees?
That would be Hunger Games.
Are there bees in Hunger Games?
Yeah, Katniss kills 2 of the... careers.
Oh, with the murder wasps.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That was
not
horrifying.
Technically bees, but these are also not technically bees, so I will accept it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Genuinely, like, yeah, we'll never forget that one. Tracker Jacks.
That's what they're called.
Thank you.
That's my favorite cereal. What?
Right.
You never had Cracker Jacks as a kid?
No. Yeah. Never. I was allowed
I don't think Cracker Jacks is actually cereal. I think Cracker Jacks is like popcorn in caramel, right?
I was allowed cereal once a year. On my birthday. I got to pick out a box of cereal.
And eat the whole box?
Not in one day.
Oh, but you were... Okay. So you would eat it over, like, the next week?
Yeah, I usually pick, like, Frosted Flakes or Golden Grahams.
Wow, you chose the most boring cereals.
They were the, like, sugary ones. I don't know what you want
Oh, my God, no. Like, there were so many good ones. Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Oh, pick that a few times.
Daddy-o.
But that's basically Golden
Captain
Grahams.
Crunch? Woo! The fuck it is!
See, the first time I had Captain Crunch, I got sick off of it.
Did you just say Golden Grahams is the same as Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Yeah, they're just different flavors.
Yeah, that's what's different about them, is that they are different flavors.
One is cinnamon and one is honey. Like what?
What the fuck is wrong with
Golden Grahams are better. Hey, James Ross knows what's up.
Apple Jacks is a cereal, that's right.
There it is.
Thank you for the follow, Crone Zone. Cone is... I'm so dyslexic. I can't read your name. I'm sorry.
Cone's guys, poll in chat. Poll in chat. Are we doing Golden Grams?
Fine, I'll add a poll.
Or are we doing Cinnamon Toast Crunch? Oh my god. I forgot that we could do that.
Cereal? Question mark? Oh, caps lock's on.
What
was it? It was Golden Grams, GG,
and CTC.
CTC.
Hell yeah. Those sound like drugs.
GG and CTC.
If
there was a drug called GG, they would definitely sponsor us.
Yes, true.
GG, it's meth for gamers.
True. We actually did get mini wheats when we went camping as well, but they were like, less sugary, so they were less fun.
Ooh, Cinnamon Toast Crunch off to an early lead, but Golden Grams is picking up steam here.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, this is like the 2020 election where like Donald Trump was winning, but then slowly over time he lost.
Oh my god.
All right. So then Lindon gets he says bye to his family, and they're like
you'll be back very short.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because you cheated, and everyone knows that you cheated. You little fucking cheat.
So then, by any means.
Yeah. So Lindon gets in a carriage and rides up to the fucking school. And before they get to the school, the little boy's like, I'm a Jade. What's up, motherfucker? I'm actually a, 50-year-old man, but I trapped myself in an 8-year-old's body because I was terrified of dying of old age.
And it didn't even work.
Which is... Austin, that's not me getting political. That was just a statement of fact. That's what happened. There was no politics in what I said. It was just... That was just facts. So then, the kid gets out and is like, hey, motherfuckers, you have to, climb through hell.
Yeah. There's gonna be
some remnants.
Bunch of remnants that are gonna, break your fucking mind.
Yeah.
And your kneecaps.
Why? I don't really know.
They're culling the
It doesn't seem like there's any schooling going on at this school.
Well, to be fair, Lindon was there for a day.
Sure, yeah. It just doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like it's ever established what kind of school this is. It doesn't seem like a school, to be honest. It seems like they just take the really talented kids from these
and it's like
valley towns, and then they go live on top of a mountain, which is a very hard place to live. And they just beat the shit out of each other all the time.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like boarding school.
To what end?
To find the strongest
ones. The book is... Look, a lot of really fun stuff happens, right? I'm not saying the book isn't fun, but, I was really hoping we would get to the school and learn, what the purpose of it is. And the purpose of it just seems to have a big ego.
Yeah, they literally, give their students, items and gifts and things. And tell them to cycle. They're all in, Soul Cycle classes 17 hours a day.
I keep waiting for it's a dojo. Okay, but a dojo is a part of your life to do something else, right? Nobody is unless you're teaching at the dojo, right? But nobody is my whole purpose in life at this dojo is to live at the dojo and beat the shit out of other people at the dojo so that every 7 years I can go try and find more people to come live at the dojo. That's not a society. That's just like a karate class. These kids are all just taking the top of a mountain for endless karate class.
And they stop people from leaving. And
the purpose of that is...
Yeah.
What?
The point is that they suck as a school.
But it's not that they suck as a school. It's that this world is so focused on getting better at sacred arts that I think Will Wight forgot to put a world in here.
No, I think it's intentional. It's literally these motherfuckers are so dumb. They think that they know what's best. They think they know how to go about it. They think they're so hoity-toity and they're all up their own asses and they're actually fucking morons. Genuinely, I think that is what it is. They have this crazy skewed view of the world, especially them being the ones to stop other people from leaving, right? And then an outsider comes in and they're trying to buy his fucking elixirs and shit, and he's like, ha ha ha. So they fucking poison him. You know what I mean? That's insanity. They could have been oh, you know what? We could learn something from this outside guy and become the best school.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There are like 4 of us, but no. We're gonna go with poison. That's what I mean. Like they all like seem like explicitly dumb, like and written that way intentionally.
I think that is where my interest in this series. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I think that we will keep going with this series because of book club. I don't have a lot of interest in this series moving forward, and it's because all of the characters outside of Jaren and Lindon have the same personality, and there's very little intellectual distinction between people.
Yep.
Like, it is just like, this is their power level, and that is about it. No, actually, that's a lie. Rom is kind of is kind of a different character.
Which one's he?
He is the gatekeeper of the lower index at the school.
Yes. He was cool.
He was an interesting character because he actually like felt like he existed in a real world.
Yeah.
Nobody else, everyone else's perspective on everything is so geared towards the plot of this novel that none of the characters felt very three-dimensional to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it is the big flaw in them improving is I don't care about Lindon getting better past anybody because all of the villains are dead.
And why I think that the book got so much better when Lindon is with Jaren.
Because she's an actual person.
Yeah. They meet up.
100%.
And it's like things happen, and it really started working.
It's the first time in the book where he talks to someone who isn't just an asshole for no reason.
Yeah.
And I feel like the book is very flat until Jaren appears.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just kind of all of these people that are just kind of dicks because...
And like Suriel, I'm interested in finding
There's no value.
out more about. But right now, even she doesn't really have much for me to like grab onto as a character and as like a person. She's kind of just like God, like very OP, and is trying to like do good. Is kind of like all that I get from her right now is do good and be God. Like,
but like one of the things that I think that this book is missing in terms of setting up the world is Krillin, right?
Krillin?
So in Dragon Ball Z, because we're referencing Dragon Ball Z so much, in Dragon Ball Z, Goku's best friend is Krillin.
Okay.
And Krillin is also a warrior.
Okay.
But he's never going to be the best. He gets the hottest woman in the series.
So he wins.
And how Krillin, as a like short, bald king, pulls, we will never know. But Krillin's value in that story being weaker than Goku and not able to keep up as Goku continues to power scale up and up and up and up and up, and up and the world becomes too dangerous for Krillin is that Krillin feels like a person who is able to have a relationship with Goku that balances the world.
Yeah.
Right? He exists so that Goku's power level and later on there's other characters that do this, but Goku's power level is balanced out by the fact that somebody actually exists here to live here, right? The value of Goku being so powerful is that he can protect Krillin.
Yeah.
And I think that they wanted to do that in this book by having the Wei clan and the valley be at risk, right? They're like, the Dread God is going to come and kill these people. But they set up the risk to the valley, but I don't feel like this book set up the value of the valley. And so I don't care about fighting the Dread God because I don't actually think that the valley is worth saving. And by not setting up anything of real, like, by not giving the valley 3 dimensions, by having everyone just kind of be an asshole, by having like the culture of the valley just be about being a better fighter and not about like living and not about what's beautiful about it, I'm not as interested in a journey to save it. Whereas like, if Lindon had experienced like a festival day where there was like real beauty and there was some really great, if him and his mom had this like really beautiful relationship, right? If some of that stuff had been set up better, Lindon leaving to go get better to come back and save it, even though it was mean to him, but that there was beauty to it.
Yeah.
Even if he only got to see it occasionally.
Yeah.
Then like stakes wise, you're like, fuck, Lindon, I get there were a bunch of assholes here. I get that your life was hard here, but you still got to save it because look, there's something of value here.
Yeah.
But instead, what we're kind of left with is his family's going to be killed anyway because of his actions, and everybody else in the valley that we met is awful. Yeah. And so it's just kind of like in terms of setting up a 12-book series that's about coming back to save this place, not spending time setting it up as a place worth saving feels like a really big miss to me.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, and I think that's why, like, so far I don't really have any strong attachments to this book. What I really like about it is watching Lindon figure out the most fucking backhanded way to get out of any situation. Like, really cool. I find that so interesting and so fun. That, like, really is the highlight of the book for me. It holds it all together. But, like...
Let's talk about something great then. What you like. So he gets to the bottom of the mountain.
Yeah.
And the kid is like, Whitehall? Is it Whitehall? White House? White something? He's like, okay, so... This is a really dangerous path. Meet me at the top. If you get there before sundown tonight, then you get a super secret special gift from the magic boxes. And you're like, cool. Yes. So everyone starts up the path, and then Lindon is like, I'm going to go lay down in the middle of the road, and I'm going to pretend to be hurt so that when the person who's going to come get the carriage comes and gets the carriage, I can get... him to feel bad for me, and
I'll just catch a ride up the mountain. That's a great fucking plan.
And so he does, and it works. He rolls a 20 on his charisma check.
Yeah.
And then he like gets out a little bit early, walks up the last. There's a whole thing about how like my honor, I must walk. And the guy's like, no, I'm not gonna let you fucking die, you idiot.
Yeah.
I do have the question though of like, why didn't he just walk up the safe road?
What?
Well, he's like, I'm going to take the carriage up the safe road, right?
Uh-huh.
And then there's the dangerous road beside it, right? And I'm like, why didn't, if there's
are they two roads?
Well, I'm assuming the oxen aren't like fighting off remnants on the way up.
But then how would Lindon have gotten to the top, gotten off the carriage, come back down, and then back up the dangerous path?
No, he like boops. No. Okay. You know COP? You know how there's the dangerous path through the trees on the right? And then there's like the ski hill, right? He basically took the gondola halfway up and then bopped into the trees at the top and then ran up that way. I'm assuming I'm assuming the safe there's a safe path for the oxen to walk up. Otherwise,
I just assumed
this fucking kid has to fight.
No, I just assumed the carriage was like enchanted, right? It's made with remnants and scripts and shit.
But okay. So wouldn't the other kids have seen the carriage pass them on this dangerous road? Anyway.
I actually don't know. I don't remember there being two
I just assumed that the carriage went up the road and that they went up the other way.
I don't know.
Oh, there's probably guards on the road. That's fair. Light blind a fool?
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. What does matter is he gets out a little bit early and he gets to the top and he's like...
Oh, he doesn't know where the school is.
Follow the road. How many roads are there to the top of the mountain?
I don't think they're like roads. I think because he gets worried
if
about
there
having...
No.
He remember when he says, I'm going to have to ask for directions, but then the remnants just like head towards the school directly.
If there is a carriage that goes up and down this mountain multiple times... then you know where, then the road is not hard to find. Right? It's not a floating carriage. It's got fucking wheels. Like, you're gonna be like, oh, there's the fucking road.
I don't know why.
It's not like bouncing up the mountain like randomly.
I was literally picturing a floating carriage. I don't know why. I don't think it ever says that.
There's gotta be a road. There just has to be. It's a mountain. It's at the top. What do you mean you don't know where the school is? It's at the top of a mountain. Where do you think the top of the mountain is, you Lindon? It's not at the bottom.
There's many paths.
It's not on the other mountain. It's at the top of the mountain. It's a school. How could you miss it?
The one thing is that I don't know how he got on the dangerous path near the end of it. Like, I'm like trying to picture it in my brain, which granted, I'm terrible at.
Yes.
Notoriously.
Not a gifted picturer.
No. Cannot do pictures.
Hey, it's easy to take a great picture of you.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
So I was literally just imagining, like, multiple ways up the mountain, but, like, they had to take this, like, specific one. But then I don't know how he got to that path, so I don't know.
Because the road, it's got to be, like, beside it, right? And then he, like, boops in and then up. Anyway, he cheats. Again, And then he gets to the top of the mountain, and the kid is so mad. And I'm like, why are you mad?
What? Which kid?
Whitehall. And the reason why I am questioning why Whitehall's mad is if the value of your school is that you want creative people to come make your school better, and this kid keeps showing you that he's got it going on, why are you so pissed?
Because he's unsouled and that means something.
Right. But hear me out. And this is my fundamental problem with the characters in this book.
Yeah.
Nobody sees the value in what Lindon is doing. But Whitehall is also a person who does things in an unpredictable way. Whitehall should be Lindon's biggest champion, right? He should be going like, this kid is an unsouled who devised a way to beat an iron, devised a way around our shit, and because of the special seed shit that we have, right? The cum that we're going to force this guy to cycle, every time I hear that you need to cycle the seed, take it in you and then cycle it, is like...
You read too much Game of Thrones.
It just seems to me like somebody at this school, one fucking person should be like, no, Lindon's... What are you talking about? Lindon's fucking doing the fucking thing.
Yeah, the, like, prop master.
Well, but he doesn't really... He's fair to Lindon in the moment because Lindon's getting attacked, but like Rom doesn't actually follow through on his protection of Lindon in any way. And so
what do you mean?
Lindon immediately gets attacked by Ram Sweeney like 10 minutes after the Rom is like, don't fucking attack this kid. And nothing happens to Ram Sweeney except that he gets to go on the attack mission. Like Rom is fundamentally and the fact that Ram doesn't listen to Rom is just one of those things that I'm like, again, the honor of this book doesn't make sense to me. But
yeah,
like if you have a student who's like the first Unsouled to ever beat an iron in a fight, that in and of itself is something that you shout from the rooftops at the other schools. Like, we got this fucking Unsouled who will beat the shit out of your irons, is a value, not a negative. At the point where he's just pissed about it. He's like pissed that the guy's succeeding, and I'm like,
and it is.
You're a school. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Is also like trying to cheat death, and so
exactly.
If he wants a cheater,
of all the characters who should make sense to be like, hey, you're underhanded and willing to do anything. I need you to be in my court.
It's
the whole book changes if Whitehall just isn't a fucking limp little dick about it.
It's one of those instances where, like, I can understand on an intellectual level that it has something to do with pride. But, like, I don't consider myself a very prideful person, and so it's not an emotion that I can, like, relate to. And so I feel like the book is like, oh, he's just, like, a prideful little bitch. But, yeah, I can't personally, like, relate to that feeling of, like, ostracizing and hating somebody so much for, like, actually, like, being really good at stuff. Like,
and for just doing what you asked.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, oh, because you're Unsouled, I have to be a dick. Which is what's not interesting about the book to me.
Yeah.
These characters do not judge each other based on their actions. Everybody just makes this weird snap judgment.
Yeah.
And then no matter what changes about that snap judgment,
Austin gets it.
Their personalities never adjust to the act. Nobody adjusts to the actions of other characters in this book.
Yeah.
They stay consistent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Lindon beats the shit out of Ram, and then Ram tells Ram to leave that fucking kid alone, and then he immediately just attacks him again. There's no adjusting by these characters to the actions that have happened. The next scene just happens independent of the previous scene, and then Ram just attacks Lindon again the third time. Like, there's no inherent, like, growth.
That one where they were fighting to the death.
There's no growth from loss in this. And Lindon just always wins because he always cheats, right? These characters don't adapt to what they see happen in front of them ever because they aren't three-dimensional. Yeah. That's what's missing is the, like, I've misjudged this. Whitehall should be smart enough to go, I've misjudged this character twice. 2 times I've misjudged him and he succeeded. It is not fair for me to keep behaving in this way that I'm going to keep behaving in and I'm going to die because I just don't think. Like, I don't use my brain, and that's what we learn about these characters is they just don't They don't think.
Yeah.
They don't adapt in any way.
Yeah.
They're
Austin,
just flat.
Thank you for that super chat.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah. Ableism is stupid. I agree.
It doesn't quite work for me. And I'm bored says that Whitehall changes his mind at the end, but to me that's not like actually a change of heart. To me that's he's making a decision out of fear.
In what way does he change his mind?
Well, he offers Lindon to work with him if he like helps take down Sword Girl, right? Jaren. Like he makes him a deal at the end there, but that to me just feels like he's trying to save his own ass.
Deal? No, not at all. He doesn't make a deal with him. He's fucking like...
Yeah, to me that doesn't really seem like it changes his mind. He's in like a shit situation. Jaren has a power level that fucking Whitehall can't even comprehend.
Yeah.
Like, he's just trying to save his own ass. That was how it read to me. It did not actually feel like a change of heart from Whitehall at all.
It's also too little too late. Like, doing it, even if he meant it genuinely, which I don't think that he did. I don't think he's going to suddenly be nice to fucking Lindon the next day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a manipulative shit who thinks that he can manipulate. He still thinks that he can manipulate an Unsouled. And he dies for it.
Yeah.
He underestimates him again.
Yeah.
And the whole school is going to fucking wipe out Lindon's family because of it, which sucks, but...
Yep. Yeah, that's... Wow, that was wild. It
is wild. It is it's interesting in that way.
Because he cannot comprehend that they would, like, leave the valley, which, sure,
Which is so crazy, because she came from outside the valley,
yeah,
and her, like, teacher was old.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is, like, it's not like they were children who wandered in.
Yeah.
He was an ancient person.
I think it's gonna be an excuse to go, like, punish the Wei clan. There's no way that he like... There's no way that he's like, oh yeah, they can't leave the valley when she's literally from outside the valley.
It's so, everyone is so closed-minded.
Yeah.
Despite given repeated reasons to not be closed-minded. Right? Like Whitehall is described as a character who shouldn't be closed-minded because he's willing to try anything to avoid dying.
Mm-hmm.
But then we're shown that, like, he's willing to try everything except anything that we see, right? He's willing to try nothing. Fundamentally, like we're told in his backstory that he is like gonna do anything not to age.
Yeah.
And then what we see him do on page is the most typical things. He doesn't think outside the box. He is a very within the world of the characters that we meet in this book. Whitehall is told to us as being a unique perspective person who does things differently, right? That's his whole thing. But what we are shown is that he behaves in the same way that everybody else does to every situation. His actions do not live up to what we are told about him as a person.
I don't agree with you.
How so?
I think that the way that he tries to manipulate the situation for trying to get into the tomb and do what the remnant and everything like that, like, is all different than we see everybody else acting about it.
How is that different? They just failed already.
Yeah, so he's like, I'm gonna go myself because none of you fuckers will.
Well, they went the first time. They just got fucking chopped up.
None of the fucking Jades are willing to stoop low enough to go deal with it themselves, so they're just sending their students to go die, and Whitehall is like, okay, well, I'm gonna fucking take care of this shit then.
They're not willing to go fight the remnant because they got their asses kicked fighting the guy. They're scared.
Sure, but like the...
Whitehall is only comfortable doing it because he wasn't there the first time, and he doesn't know how bad it is.
But they never fought that guy.
Yeah, they did.
No,
multiple Jades are dead.
They poisoned him.
I know, and they poisoned him,
yeah.
And he still fucked up multiple of them.
No, the Jades have not gone and fought him. They've been sending the Iron students who
to
have
fight
been
the remnant. No.
They've
been sending the Iron
guy.
students to fight the girl. They fought the sage.
No, the
babe, you're wrong.
Is locked in the tomb.
Yes, but they killed him.
They
and locked him in the tomb.
Yeah.
Yes, but even after he was poisoned, he still killed multiple of the Jades. When they fought him after he was poisoned.
He's been locked up.
No. Okay, so
they go in
they
the
poisoned him.
Uh-huh.
And then he woke up. He killed a few of them. They killed him and then locked his remnant in the tomb behind them. That's why when Whitehall is in the meeting, he's like, there are Jades missing from the meeting. He comments about the fact that the Jades died fighting him.
Okay.
Even after they poisoned him. And so they don't want to go fight the Remnant because they fought him, poisoned, and got fucked. They're scared because they were there. The only reason Whitehall is so confident that he can handle it is because he doesn't even know what he's walking into. He has no fucking clue what the situation is. He's cocky because he's unaware. He's just ignorant. He's not thinking different than them.
The reason that he's different is because he's the only one willing to go fight Jaren.
Sure, kind of. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that.
Like, everybody else is like, oh, we can't possibly stoop that low.
I think I read that more as they're scared because they just got fucked up 2 days ago.
I am sure they are scared, but that's not, like, what the vibe... That's not the right word.
The vibe that I got from it was that they were making excuses. That they were using Pride as an excuse to not go get fucked up again because they watched other Jades die and it was so shocking to them that they're like, well, our honor says we can't go fight that girl. But I think the truth of it is they're like, we're scared.
Probably, which is why, like, I think that Whitehall does feel different in those decisions where, like, he kind of will do anything to, like, he's like, I'm gonna die, like, within a decade. That's not good. So yeah. I need, like, I'm willing to do anything to figure out what this sword guy knew. We're
skipping around like crazy. Okay, let's talk through the plot really quick because there's also questions that we have to get through. So he gets to the top of the mountain. Yes. He gets the special gift. He goes into the the lower hall of treasures, where there's like seeds that make you more powerful.
Yeah.
There's the Nimbus 9000 cloud that he can fly around on.
Nimbus 9000.
The Nimbus is what the cloud is called in Dragon Ball.
I thought you were making a Harry Potter reference.
I kind of mix them, but there's some other shit. There's like a fucking flower that'll make you more power.
The little like sea monkey.
Yes. Clarence wants the pet. Monkey. And then there is a little pile of flags.
Yeah.
That if you place in a perfect circle, you can summon images.
They like basically like fuck up your mind. It's like giving them a hallucinogen that is actually like hurting them.
But it doesn't seem like they need to be in the flags for it to work.
Huh?
I don't know. I was a little confused about the flags, if I'm going to be completely honest. And also, like...
It's like one of the circles that, like, Lindon drew that's, like, does a thing.
So, yeah, it basically, like, pulls from the vital aura of the area, right? And then Lindon, mid-fight, is able to, like, run into a brush and then, like, set up some flags. Oh, no. He immediately... Oh, wait. No, I have the timing wrong. So, Ram shows up and is, like, calling him out on... And this is where I didn't... Ram's whole argument here is so stupid. But he's like, it's your fault this other guy died, independent of your existence, because you succeeded. And so you've embarrassed a dead person. And so I need to now fight you because you had nothing to do with that. But because you didn't die, I'm mad.
It's very CW.
It is so CW. That is a good way to put it.
I need an excuse to be angry. I mean, to be fair, he did see someone that he knew die. Like, that, I don't know, that fucks up your brain.
Yeah, but the teacher's like, don't do this. This is dumb. And then Lindon's like, well, let's fight. I'll show you the power of my flags. And then Lindon cheats again, wins with the power of his flags.
Yeah.
And then the teacher Ram is like, don't fucking go after Lindon ever again. Right now, I'm telling you.
Yeah, Lindon won fair and square. It would be really dishonorable if you took this further. Which does
It would be dishonorable if he... Yeah, and so in that moment, he is saying that if you attack that kid, that is dishonor against my word. So by attacking Lindon in the next scene, Ram is dishonoring Ram. And there are no consequences for that.
Well, what consequences could there possibly be?
If
Lindon's not going to go tell him that,
the words
hey,
of the elders, in the school, there's no value to your elders. There's no value to your school at all.
Yeah, everybody beats everyone up. It's why it's a terrible place.
But this is my problem with the honor system in this book, is that's not how honor works. If you dishonor your teacher, it is worse than dishonoring another student. It is worse than dishonoring yourself. If you dishonor your elder, and Ram doesn't care about that at all...
No,
because he's not a person.
Lindon doesn't come back to challenge him. We're talking about when he goes and steals his like seeds. Like he literally like accosts him and steals his shit. And
there is no world.
You give me your lunch money every week, or I'll beat you up. Basically.
There is no world in my mind where someone raised in this culture would have an elder tell him, "Do not retaliate for this," and then that guy immediately retaliates. It is unless Ram is just impossibly stupid. And impossibly arrogant and impossibly dishonorable.
He's from the like fighting clan, so that doesn't
mean that there's less honor in them.
But here's the thing: he knows that if he goes and beats up Lindon, there will be no consequences for him because Lindon's not going to go run to his teacher crying and be like, "So and so beat me up," because that makes Lindon look
okay. But the person who gave him the fruit said, "You better be a copper on Sunday." And so when Lindon shows up on Sunday and hasn't been cycling the fruit for 4 days, what do you think is going to happen, Ram? Like, these characters don't think outside of the scene they're in. And it's why I find it frustrating, right?
Yeah, but Ram can't have known that that's what that guy told Lindon. There's absolutely no way. Like...
I think that doesn't make sense to me then. Ram understands the cycling enough to know that if Lindon doesn't cycle his fruit, they're gonna know. He's not going to like take all of these power seeds into himself and then not grow in power at all. And the school just be like, well, that's weird. Let's not follow up on that at all. It's a school. They're going to pay attention to it. That's the whole point. So Ram is just disregarding an elder with actions that don't benefit him at all because he's getting his own fucking seeds. He's getting like double the power seeds. I guess, but like, I don't know. It felt like one of those, it felt so unnecessary because this book just wants the world to be rough on Lindon.
Well, he is from the clan that is like, we beat up one another.
But it's at the cost of any of these characters feeling like real people. To me, personally.
No, and I do agree with that. Like, I think that... I don't find them particularly interesting. Like, he's clearly not a really fully fleshed out person. He just kind of feels like a dumb brute, which like is fine. That is like definitely a character that you see all across fantasy, and he's not there for very long because he fucking dies. But
he can't be a villain in the future because but it which gets into the whole like this book doesn't really set up anything. This book doesn't set up Lindon's future fights.
Well, because he leaves.
But someone should follow him.
Follow him?
Yeah, there should be somebody from the school that's mad enough at Lindon for a good reason to follow him out into the world. So that there is, like, a thrust, right? Narratively. But, like, if you end here, this is the end of the book. There's not, in my opinion, there's not a real reason to continue on in terms of, like, who is Lindon getting better to fight? A dread god? I guess somewhere down the line that might happen.
Yeah, no, we disagree there.
But like, there's no conflict in the exit, and I think the book could really be. I think that conflict in the exit would be really valuable.
I think it could be valuable, but I don't think that because it's not there that there's no reason for the story to continue.
But if you make Ram more 3-dimensional, don't kill him, and then he follows them out into the world, you have like you have an end to this book that sets up what possible future conflicts could be, as opposed to the end of this book sets up they're headed out into the wild blue yonder, where the next book has to start with setting up what matters again, right?
I mean, to me, it felt like the conflict that follows them leaving the valley is Ram. The Elder Ram. What's his name?
Elder Ram?
Yeah.
How does he's not leaving his house?
Well, because they're going to go kill everyone in the Away clan and then realize he's not there and then follow him out. Yeah, they're going to kill everybody and then they're going to be like, well, he's not here, so he's got to have them left.
That's interesting. It would be interesting. It would be more interesting if they left with if somebody left to follow him. If there was something at the end of the book to tell me that like that something from this valley was coming along with them on the journey.
Yeah.
Nerdy said thrust. I did say thrust.
Thank you for the super chat.
Blue brings up that they're going after his village. Yeah, but Lindon's not going to know about that, and Lindon's not in a position where he can do anything about it. So them going to attack Lindon's village narratively is I don't know how Lindon finds out about that. There's no narrative to that. It sucks. If you watch the reaction to the epilogue, that's the moment that I had a reaction to, because I was like, oh, that's actual, like, that's a plot. Great, cool. This isn't just telling me random shit about magic, which I felt like most of the epilogue was.
Yeah.
The finding out that the magic school is going to go attack his village and probably kill his family is sad. But you've just told me these characters have left the valley and they can't find stuff out. Like, they don't have a dirge. They don't have cell phones. There's no magical telecommunication system. There's no way for them to find out that the Wight clan is dead.
Did they end up stealing a dirge, actually, when they went back for the second time?
What?
I think they might have ended up stealing a dirge, right?
No, they didn't steal a dirge.
No, they got a bunch of stuff, so I actually can't remember.
But also, dirges aren't like the fucking seance. They don't, like, communicate. They don't, like, call each other, right?
Right.
That we've seen. They might.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that, like, yeah, it's interesting that they're going to go attack his family. That doesn't mean anything to Lindon, because Lindon's not going to know that for 30 years. Right?
But, like, based on the information that we know, he's going to leave in... Well, not 30 years.
So maybe, like, there's a scene in the book where they come beat up his family, but, like... It's sort of like the Scouring of the Shire in Lord of the Rings, where, like, you cut it from the movies because it doesn't actually, like, narratively do anything. It's just sad. Nothing happens in the Scouring of the Shire, plot-wise.
Well,
it just is like, there's a bad thing that happened in this place.
Plot-wise, it's not super relevant, especially because everything ends up fine. It is it was, like, relevant to the characters and how their home was ravaged by the war, even though, like... while they were gone.
Mm-hmm.
And so they come back and things are different. So it's for character development and for, like, the world, I do think that it matters a lot. But for the plot narrative, it doesn't.
Which
really.
is why it's in the very long book and it's not in the movies. It's not even in the very long version of the movies.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Because because it just has less intrinsic value because there's not action for the characters to do.
Yeah, like, I feel like for the Wight clan to be attacked, Lindon has to find out about it somehow. Otherwise, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one was weird to me because I was like, I don't know how Lindon is going to know that this happens. He's, like, leaving the valley and there's no communication. They literally prevent people from coming in and out, so... I don't know.
Blue says the point is that you're arguing someone should follow them outside the valley when some of the strongest people in the valley literally can't survive out there. It wouldn't make sense to follow.
And we're saying, like, that his bully is, like, dumb enough to live and, like, make that choice.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that in terms of, like, oh my god, the poll is 51% for
Hell yeah.
Toast Crunch.
Wow, you're gonna end it? Wow, fuck you.
It's the only time we've ever had a poll go my way in the entirety of the show.
That's fair.
You win every time because you're hot, and I'm not. No, my point is that this book is about, ultimately, it's about Lindon just overcoming obstacles, right? But it doesn't leave an obstacle to be overcome outside of there is a god coming in 30 years, right? There's no enemy introduced in book 1 except for a dread god, unnamed, no power level, no idea. Lindon, like, the book would almost have had a more interesting ending if they had lost to Whitehall and Whitehall was still there for them to fight in the future.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right? Like, if there was something about the end of this book that left them not victorious and not just setting off on a different adventure next time, but actually left, like, something for them to overcome in a future book. Mm-hmm. And kind of set up that, like, yeah, they're off on their adventure, but they're not powerful enough to get over the end of this book, right? As opposed to what we get, which is, I don't know what Jaren needs to overcome because she is more powerful than everybody in the book that we see, except for, obviously, Suriel. Yeah. Except for, like, the gods, right? Yeah. So Jaren is unset power level, beats up all of this school, and then the future direction is any direction. Like, there's no goal here other than get better, but better than a god. So it's like, okay, so he needs to get better than a thing that I don't understand what it is. It would be like if at the end of the thing they're like, oh yeah, in 30 years you have to fight Godzilla, and it's like, oh, okay, better
get started.
I'm gonna go do push-ups, I guess. Like, I don't know what that means. I don't know where to go from here. I'm not. They're leaving. I thought they were gonna end. See, because they said that there was a labyrinth. I thought this book was going to end with them losing to Whitehall and being forced to not leave the valley, but to take the like more dangerous exit into the labyrinth, and that there was going to be like Whitehall chasing them through the labyrinth was book 2. And when we kind of just got to the end where they just like kind of win the fight, get the remnant, do the thing, and then they're just going to like leave. You're like, oh, okay, that's the end of the book. Like that's the end of a story. Now we have to start a new story where we have to like set up a villain, and the next book has to set up everything, because this book kind of like wipes the slate clean at the end.
Well, and I think that's what I find difficult about it, is that it does in a way feel like a prequel that isn't super tied to what's gonna happen next. Because like I said, it feels very important that they're all gonna go fucking murder the Way Clan because they believe Lindon is there. So I feel like Lindon has to find out about that somehow. If he just leaves and is doing something else, it feels completely unrelated.
But the Way Clan won't even be there for him to save when he comes back.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
So he's just going to go do stuff for 30 years, come back and find out that his family was dead the whole time.
Yeah, it feels very...
that's just sad. Like, that's not...
No. And I agree. That's why I'm like, I feel like he has to find out somehow. Like, maybe Suriel's like, hey, your family's all going to die or something. It just is, like, weird that, like, this book is like, we're going to get out of the valley. And something tragic's going to happen here, and maybe our characters will know about it, and maybe not. Like, I genuinely, like, I don't know... what is next. I don't know what the next step is.
Ty still says maybe he comes back to the valley before he ascends to god level. They've already beaten the shit out of the most powerful school, though. So coming back to the valley doesn't do anything for it. Like, there's nothing left in the valley for them to beat.
To beat? What do you mean? Lindon is a Unsouled. He hasn't even hit Copper yet.
Sure, but he has Jaren now, right? So assuming they're still a team.
Yeah, but the point is for him to get stronger, not for him to hide behind her.
Sure, but so my problem is that they have already beaten the highest level person in the valley, right? A Jade of one of the 4 schools. They've already beaten that person together.
Okay.
And so if they go and get a slight bit stronger, then they come back and there's nothing stronger than them left in the valley for them to come back and fight.
How about a whole army instead of one person?
I mean, there's only like 9 Jades? Like, it's not like there's like this
but there's like an
vast number of
of
people.
Irons, right? Like, they're marching a fucking army.
And Jaren cleaved through them for weeks. Like, Jaren was killing irons for literally weeks.
Sure, on like her terms and like her ground, right?
Sure,
like,
but my point is that if they go back to the Way Clan and they like fight the school with the Way Clan's help and they get his mom's help, they've already beaten the hardest person in the valley. Which is why I'm like, leave somebody have them flee from someone who is still stronger than them.
They fled from a bunch of Jades that showed up. They literally ran away from them.
But my point is that they killed a Jade.
Okay.
Right? They killed
one by himself.
So if they go get stronger, there isn't like a point where I'm like, oh, now they're strong enough to go kill one of the strongest people in the valley anymore, because they've already done it, right? You've established that because
with some trickery, like I don't know what you're trying to say. Like, they're not the strongest people.
Whitehall is the highest ranked thing in the valley, right? So
and they barely beat him.
Well, I would say they kind of like crushed him pretty handily. They're both fine.
He got crushed, but like that's because like some trickery was involved. Like they're not like Jaren is not at such a crazy power level that she can just like fucking walk through the valley and decimate everybody who stands in her way. Like that's like she.
But I agree with you right now. Right? I'm not saying that right now she could go kill all the Jades.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that, say book 2, they go get stronger.
Okay.
When they come back, there isn't somebody stronger than Whitehall to be the, like, enemy that they can now beat. It's just...
That's why it feels like they can't leave right now.
But they did. They've already left. They're out in the valley somewhere.
Out in the valley?
Yeah, in the epilogue, they're like, they've left the valley already. They're out in the wilderness, sorry.
Which is why I feel like he's going to find out that the clan is under attack and they're going to have to turn around. Like, I don't...
But if they go out and so now that he's cycling, right? And now that he has his 2 cores and he is getting stronger, the people attacking the Wei clan are weaker or are at the level of the people that they've already killed, right? If they go back to the valley stronger than they were when they left and maybe a little bit more rested, because Yaren's problem wasn't like strength, it was that she was so exhausted. So if you give her time to rest up and we get full power Jaren coming back to save the Wei clan, there isn't a scary figure that we have to worry about. There isn't a Ganondorf. There isn't a leader of the school that is so much more powerful than Whitehall that like, whoa, we could never fight him at our level now. We got to go level up. It's the like narrative track that you keep your characters on so that it feels like it's picking up pace. If they go back and fight more of the people that they've already killed, narratively it feels like a drag.
I just feel like you are treating this story as like Dragon Ball Z, where we just
that's what it is. There's nothing else to it. There's no
like I don't see
there's no
why
three-dimensional
it has
characters
to be a fight.
But that's all because that's what the whole series is. There's literally nothing else of interest going on here except the fights. Everything around the fights in this book is fine writing. The fights are what's great, right? The fights are what's interesting. The power level stuff is what's fun about it. None of the characters are very deep. Except Jaren and Lindon. Everyone around them is a two-dimensional prop to kind of get them to the next fight. That's what the book is. So, like, that's the only... when I'm looking forward to, like, future fights, I'm not looking forward to the relationship stuff, because none of the relationship stuff has been particularly interesting. I haven't, like... Lindon's relationship with his parents is fine, but there's not a lot there. His relationship with his sister is barely in a relationship. He doesn't seem all that broken up leaving them.
I just don't think that like these books would be beloved in the way they are if it was just like, and then we fight this guy, and then we fight this guy, and then we fight this guy. Like that just seems.
I mean, it's
boring.
A power ascension story. I feel like that's kind of all. That's kind of the trope of it, isn't it? Like that's.
Why? Why does it have to be? I don't know. You seem to have like a set idea of what you think this story is. And that you don't like it, and not like the potential, like the potential of what it could be, or like
if book 2 comes in and book 3 comes in and suddenly has like our characters surrounded by more three-dimensional characters and like the plot of like how Lindon does stuff gets a little bit more interesting, I will change my mind 100%. 100%. I would love for this to get more interesting. Book 1 is Lindon gets into a series of fights where he cheats to win. And that's all the book is. There's not a lot outside of that, to be honest.
Yeah.
The characters are fine. Most of the... like, Whitehall is the most interesting non-Big 2 character, and he's dead. Ram's dead. Like,
I mean, I found, like, the items guy interesting. Can't even fucking remember his name.
Rom was fair. You know what I mean? Like that's his personality was he's fair.
Yeah.
We didn't he didn't develop a relationship with any none of these characters are in enough scenes to develop a relationship with anybody else.
Yeah.
I don't know how other elders feel about Rom. I don't know how Rom feels about the school. I don't really know what the school does. I don't know how the society functions.
They train people. Yeah.
And so like sure if you want to say, like, this could get really interesting in book 2, you're right. But in order to get really interesting, it has to get deeper than what the first book is, which is a shallow series of Lindon cheating at fights. Yeah, from the beginning to the end. Like that's
and it's why I think that this book feels like weirdly like a prologue. Like it does feel, in a way, there is a hard line between book 1 and, like, potentially book 2, because there's no.
But if every book has that same hard line where they like go to the wasteland for a book, they get a little bit more power, they kill a bunch of people, and then at the end they're like, and then we enter this kingdom. If at the end of book 2 there's that hard line again,
it's just like Mario World, like they like bop around.
You know what? That's a great example. Book 1 feels like a Mario World.
Yeah.
Where like we've left it now, and like there's another. That's a great analogy. If the book keeps being Mario Worlds, I'm not really interested in watching these characters get a little bit more powerful and kill a bunch of like three-dimensional bullies who think that they're weak at the beginning and underestimate them. If that's the way that all of these are structured, I'm not interested. If that changes, I will.
Yeah.
I'm willing to say like, I'll change my mind in the future. Yeah. Right now, I'm like, this is not a good setup for a 12-book series to me because I don't see in 12 books how I come back to the valley and care about saving it.
And I have heard that, like, a lot of people on their rereads just jump back in at book 3. Like, they get to, like, world number 3, and that's kind of where it
That's the underwater level.
Yeah.
When they meet the sea dragon guy.
Yeah. You gotta practice holding your breath. It is weird because I feel like a lot of books that I read that are series, I feel like I feel like I have a good enough grasp at the foundations to speculate for like book 2, but I feel like it literally could be anything, and I don't know how. I feel weird about that.
You know what I think the problem partially is?
Yeah.
Austin Arminio says, yes, nerdy, things get deeper. There's more development. There's growth. That's how a story works. Usually that happens within individual books. You don't usually need to like wait till future books for there to be growth. But
yeah, I think that the series can have growth. I think it is definitely lacking in book 1.
I think where the book 1 fails to set up a 12-book series is that Surreal says this is the end of book 12. Get better until then. And I think that if Surreal had set a goalpost somewhere beyond 30 years in the future, somewhere closer than 30 years in the future, I feel like as an audience member it would be a little bit easier to have some sort of speculation about what comes next.
Well, here's my thing, right? The thingy says an average of 27-something years, right?
Yes.
But I have a feeling that Lindon's actions in leaving the valley speed that up exponentially.
Why?
Like that event. Well, because it's an average. So there could be a series of consequences where it happens in 2 years. Because I like an average of 27-something years means that in some timelines it happens in 100, and in some it happens tomorrow, like potentially. So I feel like that goalpost that has been set is not immovable.
Interesting. I like that thought.
Which is like that. Yeah. That's kind of...
It still can have its... But even that... Mm-hmm. It's like the amount of change Lindon has to go through to fight a god is still so much.
For sure.
That like that average can't...
It can't be
that.
tomorrow. No, and it cannot
can't go down
tomorrow.
by that much.
No, for sure. I'm agreeing with you 100%.
Without some bullshit. The problem... And part
that
of
that would be bonkers.
Part of the problem is that because he's got such a late start, I feel like there's going to have to be some bullshit to kind of like speed through some shit.
Maybe, yeah.
And I'm hopeful that when we get to it, I like the bullshit more than I liked this. Because he's going to have to leapfrog power levels somehow. And I don't think the dual core is going to be enough to do that.
Well, I think that... Honestly,
when you finished the book, you
like
said that there was something about the final chapter that you said was... That you wanted to say for the show. That you said was something. I can't remember.
What did I say?
About the power level in specific, you said there's something at the end of this that... Something about how he gets his power at the end of this, or something that you had a strong opinion about, but you wouldn't share until book club.
Yeah, what was that?
Great. You told me that, okay, cool.
Yeah. No, I remember being like, I didn't love...
Ty still says D&T types scaling, start at level 0 in 6 months, you're level 20. That's honestly so fair.
I have definitely never played a campaign where I level that fast.
Why are you saying call X minutes and no book talk? We've been talking about the book the whole time. We haven't changed subjects. Can you talk about Jaren? You said you liked her. Yes, let's talk about Jaren. Jaren is really cool. Yeah. I wish she was the protagonist of the book.
Well, I don't know if I wish that, but I wish she had been introduced earlier, because I think that her and Lindon have an interesting relationship. Mm-hmm. How they come to trust one another is interesting. Her like setting up the fucking trap to like slice him open, and then being like, well,
we didn't really set up how this happens. So basically, after Ram punches him and steals his seeds, Ram beats the shit out of Lindon so hard that Lindon is carried by the guy that he lied to earlier to get him in the cart to the hospital room, which the school would never look into. Ram's a fucking genius, I guess. I'm just wrong about that. And
I don't know. Were any of your bullies particularly smart?
Yeah. They didn't get fucking caught because they didn't break my jaw in public. They broke bones under my shirt so that it wasn't as obvious. Duh.
Okay, but it still would have been on you to be like, this is the person that beat me up. Like, how the fuck is the teacher supposed to know what happened?
Yeah, but I was able to hide my broken clavicle I played 4 playoff hockey games with a broken clavicle.
Yeah, you chose to hide it in the same way that Lindon...
I couldn't have hit it if I had a broken jaw to the point where I had to be carried to the hospital. I got up and walked home after I fucking broke my clavicle. I didn't fucking have a jaw hanging off the side of my face that was so bad that I needed fucking magic seeds to get my jaw to hinge back in.
I don't know. Everyone in the school fucking fights one another.
Anyway, in the hospital, he finds out where the girl is, so he goes off to find her. Then we cut to like a board meeting where the Jades are talking, and the Jades are like, well, you're going to take your 2 new kids with you. And so it's like, all right, cool. Yeah, let's take the fucking kids we haven't trained at all into a fight with the most dangerous person our school has ever experienced before. That makes a ton of fucking sense. God, how does this school have just all these dead students? They're so brilliant.
Well, because
everyone's so dumb.
They're usually fighting one another whose like bodies are at the same strength level, right? Like an iron punching another iron is like 2 kids like fighting one another.
100%. Why would you send kids you've never trained in anything to a fight?
Yeah, so that's why the iron beating up Lindon, who doesn't have the reinforced body, like that's why he gets so injured.
No, that's not my point. My point is the elders are like, take the kids that we haven't taught anything with you so that they can die?
Well, I mean...
The irons that you've been training for months, you have been dying for weeks now. Training for, some of them probably 7 years.
Just keep killing
14
them.
years, 21 years. And they're like, oh man, all of the irons we've trained have fucking died. Why don't you take those 2 new kids that climbed the mountain yesterday, who haven't even cycled their fucking seed yet? Take those kids with you. That makes a ton of fucking sense.
Yeah.
And he does. He brings Ram with him. And guess what? Ram fucking dies immediately. Because the fucking morons everywhere. And then, so Lindon beats them to the girl, though. And he climbs down in the valley. And he's like, Jaren? And then she's like, boom, sword under the neck. I never told you my fucking name. And he's like, no, God did.
God told me, actually.
God actually told me that, yeah. And she's like, bullshit. Let's make a spirit vow. And it's like...
It's like the unbreakable vow. Except it's not. Because it's not as bad for Lindon. Maybe.
That might be true of the unbreakable vows as well. We never find out like if Filch can make an unbreakable vow, but it wouldn't hurt him as much.
He can't make an unbreakable vow because he can't use magic.
But the people who make the unbreakable vows don't use magic. The person who casts the unbreakable vow on their hands uses magic.
You can't make an unbreakable... You can't make muggles make an unbreakable vow.
We don't know that.
You have to have magic for it to, like, connect to your magic. You have to...
But we don't know that Filch doesn't have... That he's, like, at 0. He just might not have enough magic to cast spells.
All right. Yeah, maybe. It's a system that also is...
That's my point.
Nonsense. Yeah. Yeah.
So they... Yeah, so this is where, like, the book gets really good. Because Jaren is deeply fascinating.
Yeah.
She's
very cool. She just lost her teacher. So I'm like, damn, that sucks.
Kiyoshi on Twitch just came in and said, value in fighting kids? How does that relate to people running in valleys, leveling up, and fighting schools?
Well, Lindon beat up a bunch of children. So
there's a point at the end of the book where he says, I'm so glad I beat up those kids so that I knew how to beat up this kid. Anyway.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Blue is right. Filch could be unsouled. So he technically could make a spirit vow, but if he broke it, he wouldn't die. He would just, like... have a bad day.
Sure. Yeah. We don't know what would happen to Lindon. Lindon doesn't know what might happen to Lindon if this breaks.
Arzu says that HP is a binary system of have magic versus have no magic, but that's not true. There's wild levels of magic because Neville is nearly a squib, and like Harry and Dumbledore and Voldemort have so much power that it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
so it's not.
But like for no reason, like it's just like you are more powerful or you're not as powerful.
No, but there are clearly power levels in Harry Potter.
Yeah,
right?
like
Ron
is
people, not very powerful.
Yeah, only some people can apparate and disapparate.
Yeah, that's a great level threshold.
Yeah, not everybody can like do that.
But some magic isn't on the binary, like a Patronus charm is based
also
on
very
how good
powerful.
your memories are. So like virgins just cannot cast as good a Patronus as people who have received a blowjob. Facts.
Right. If you don't know the joy of orgasming, it's really hard to make a Patronus.
But like a blowjob Patronus is going to be so much more powerful than a masturbation Patronus. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Especially since most of the masturbation patronuses for the kids at Hogwarts, they're like trying to quietly jack off in their 4-poster bed with like another kid
With like
17
17
feet over.
people around? Yeah.
Like, that's not a great masturbation experience. So they're like mostly casting patronuses based on their summer masturbation time until they hook up with someone in like year 4, 5, 6.
Right.
Then suddenly it's like blowjob patronus. Fucking
Damn,
great.
That's
a good
Suddenly
Patronus.
I can cast a Patronus charm now. It's crazy.
You just know that Ron Weasley's like lavender brown.
I don't know if that was a very good one, but sure.
I don't know. She
counts.
was enthusiastic.
She was probably a little crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, whoa. Okay.
So Jaren is like the first character in this book who I feel like exhibits actual honor.
Yeah.
And therefore 1000% makes sense as a person.
Yep, for sure.
Because she actually, like, her actions line up with what we're told about her and with what she says she's going to do.
And she's the only one who understands how the magic works.
She's such a breath of fresh air in this fucking book.
Yeah, she's like, my master would literally murder everyone in this valley if he found out, like, if he knew what they were doing to you. And he's like, what the fuck does that mean? She's like, well, this whole bullshit about being unsouled doesn't fucking matter. In the same way that, like...
She's never even heard the term unsouled until she came here.
Yeah, she's like, what the fuck is with your messed up backwater fucking Alabama creek, like, customs? What is this shit? It's why they're the Cradle. They're like the...
She's also, like...
infants.
She's the first character in the book who's inquisitive. Like, she...
Well, Lindon is, I think. In a way, Lindon is an interesting one in a way because, like, he's inquisitive, but he can't be too inquisitive because it will get him killed.
Yeah.
So it's like this weird, like, I'm gonna, like, push a little bit where I can.
I think that, Lindon's perspective we see.
Yeah.
So she's the first person who we without seeing their internal perspective.
Yeah.
That we see as being inquisitive.
Yeah.
And who we see as approaching a situation and trying to solve it without immediately going to violence because she's not sure she could win the fight. Right?
Yeah.
She's the first person who kind of treats someone that she meets not as someone that she can beat.
Yeah.
And so because of that, you get this very, like, rich introduction to a character who actually has, like, who has, like, independent thoughts running that you can see, that Lindon can see playing out.
Yeah.
It's not just judgment and, like, assumption.
Yeah.
And so she really does. She stands out so hard in this book for me.
Yeah, she's great.
She's the first person that I actually cared about.
I care about Lindon.
I don't,
but
really.
I know you don't. Yeah.
I don't. And maybe I will in the future. The introduction to him. When a book tries this hard to make me feel sad for somebody by kicking them in the teeth so much, my reaction is to be like, you're trying too hard, and so I don't really feel bad for him, actually. I love watching his brain figure out how to, like, fuck up a situation and come out on top. See, I'm interested in how he does that. Yeah. I don't care about him as a person. Those two things are separate for me in a way that that's going to be a subjective experience. They're not separate for me. Because I'm like, I like, this is the thing about the person that I can latch onto and I can care about. Yeah, which is interesting because I feel like with Vin in Mistborn, it was kind of similar where, like, her life was really hard, but some things went her way from other people's perspective, and I appreciated it. I really appreciated the times where, like, someone treated with kindness occasionally. Well, and that was the thing, is it wasn't all, like, awful, because she meets Kelsier pretty early. Yes. Right? So, I think that is where the difference is. Well, and, like... Where it's, like, 3/4 of the way through the book that, like, Lindon meets Jaren, and everyone else just kind of shits all over him. Well, and, like, even, like, his interaction with Whisper, the fox, is like, oh, I'm glad you're here because of fate. And I'm like, oh... So the fox is nice to him because he's entwined in fate or some bullshit, which... I'm me. I'm like, okay. Sure. These characters can't just, like, be nice to each other unless they have, like, a reason, which is why, like, Jaren, she doesn't have a reason to be nice to him. She doesn't have a reason not to immediately murder him. She could, but she doesn't. Yeah. Because she uses her brain, because she reaches out and takes a chance.
Yeah.
And I really, what I love about her is, Lindon has to take chances because he has no choice.
Right.
In this instance, she doesn't have to take this chance.
Right.
But she does, right?
Yeah.
She makes that like active choice to slow down and have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it benefits her so greatly. She accomplishes her goals because she takes a risk in a way that she wasn't forced to do.
Yeah.
Like obviously, like you can be like everything Lindon does is a risk, and I'm like, yeah, but that makes it less interesting over time.
Yeah.
Because it's this, I think that that might be part of my problem with Lindon as a main character. Everything has the same level of risk for him.
Him being alive is
and
a
so
risk.
it's never a choice. It's always a necessity. And so the value of that necessity gets undercut the next time because it's like, well, that's kind of the only thing. That's his whole thing is like, I'm going to cheat at things where the risk is death. To
be fair, Lindon could have had a much less riskier life and just been a copper and followed the visions and lived a life until he was about 40-something. And
then his whole family gets murdered? Like, that's not really a choice.
A lot of people
you can
be
either...
like, all right.
No, I don't think people would. I think if God came to you and was like, hey, in 26 years, you're going to die and your children are going to die... and enjoy those 26 years, I think most people would be like, is there another option?
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. I don't know that I agree that, like, that is much of a choice.
Yeah.
I think the choice that Lindon makes that's really interesting is when he just chooses to die against Maltoothy or whatever his name
Gold.
is. Yeah. Like
Malkier,
that... I don't think that guy was a gold. I think that guy...
Far
superior.
Far. No, that's why he's like, oh, a gold. As long as no one else is a gold, I'll take that. Like, yeah.
So I think that like that moment is the interesting Lindon moment in the book. Is the most interesting one because it is the one where there's no cheating, there's no like taking a risk to win. He is like, I'm willing to die here for honor. Yeah, that's my favorite Lindon moment.
Yeah, and it's great.
But like all of the moments outside of the Deus Ex Machina are the same stakes, and like Lindon enters the situation for the same reason, with the same stakes, and with the same outcome. Yeah. He is at risk of death because someone doesn't like that he's unsouled. He's like pissed off their morality or some shit. He is going to attempt some form of cheat in the fight, and then the cheat succeeds and he survives. That is like, it's so consistent from his first thing with the Remnant to how he beats fucking what's his face at the end, Whitehall at the end. Yeah. It is the same every time. And so I would like to see, as these books keep going, Lindon interact with some scenarios where he is evenly matched and he wins on his own merits. I would like to see some scenarios where he cheats and it doesn't work.
Well, he beats up a bunch of kids, and they were on his power level, so...
But he's cheating in those, right?
He's not cheating, he's just using a technique that they don't know.
Fair. I would like to see him succeed in different ways.
Yeah, I hear
you know what I mean? I would like to see,
I'm being facetious.
I would like to not immediately go, oh, he's going to cheat and it's going to work, because it always does.
See, I don't know. I kind of like that he just thinks so outside of the box.
Sure, but he has every single thing that he tries is a nat 20, and he always gets the nat 20, right? Like, it's not like he's like fighting normally and like sometimes he's rolling to 12 and just getting a glancing blow in. Everything that he does is this like big risk.
He kind of gets one chance before he dies, and those chances have worked.
And every gamble has paid off. There's never been a consequence for cheating in the entirety of the book, except when Markuth. But it's not about the honor part here. It's about the fact that everything is a risk.
Winning by any means.
It's that every gamble in the book works. Yeah. And there's no consequences for cheating in any way.
Yeah, everybody's just kind of like, okay, like there doesn't really seem to be hard and fast rules. I remembered what the thing was, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I love this, and we kind of already talked about it. It was just that like that the magic system doesn't actually work in the way that we were told that it works, or kind of works, or maybe works, and that everything is totally wrong. And I read that and I was kind of like, I ain't trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. And it didn't even fucking matter because it's all wrong. That was kind of like a little bit of like a ugh to me, but I'm kind of
sat here a week ago
Yeah.
and told you that was going to happen.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
I promised you up and down last week's podcast
Here's the thing.
that was going to happen. You're like, no, you're wrong.
If Jaren can teach me the ways, then it'll be fine.
So Jaren and what's his butt have to fight Whitehall because Whitehall shows up with Ram and a couple of other boys. Ram jumps down into the cavern place to fight Lindon, but his flags are set up, and so he manages
Lindon
to
uses the same trick twice, and
literally,
Ram is a fucking moron.
Ram is the dumbest motherfucker ever. He's kind of learned because he starts throwing bricks randomly to try and hit the flag. So I guess he's learned a little bit.
Yeah. We'll give him that much.
But so Lindon has to take a spear from a previous battle, and he stabs
straight up murder him.
Ram.
Yeah.
But Ram doesn't fall right away, and so he just keeps repeatedly stabbing him over and over and over again until he's 100% sure that Ram is dead. And you really like this moment. You said because you felt like you really liked Lyndon's reaction to killing.
Well, yeah, you were literally like, why didn't he loot the body? And I'm like, he just
I stand
murdered.
by it.
No.
I stand by it.
No, I will fight you on this one. You are wrong. This
I'm not wrong.
15-year-old child just murdered for the first time, and you're like, oh yeah, and then I D&D it and I go loot the body. No.
Yes, this kid, Ram Sweeney.
No.
This morning, Ram Sweeney stole his seeds and his power fruit that were going to help him get to copper. This morning, this motherfucker took those from him, and he doesn't check the body to see if he had them on him?
No, it's a dead and bloody body.
Yes, but you still take the power seeds because you want to get your levels up.
How do you know that they're there? They may not have been.
They might not have been, but guess what? They go back to the school, and guess where they don't fucking go? Ram Sweeney's bedroom to see if his power fruit's there. Lindon, your whole thing is why is leveling up. Your whole thing is improving your power, and you kill the guy who stole your fucking power seeds, and you don't look for it? You don't try and pick it up? You don't check his fucking pockets? Really, Lindon?
No.
How are you ever gonna level up if you don't loot the body?
No.
You loot everything.
No.
There's not a single drawer that I would leave empty in a video game because I will loot you until the end of the earth.
It's not a video game.
I don't care that he's a child. He desperately wants to improve. He wants to survive. He should look for his fucking power seeds.
Yeah, I'll fight you on that. I will mud wrestle you over this one.
I feel like we need to pick a more fair arena.
What do you mean? Mud is like slippery.
Yeah, I'm still... Babe, you can't fight me. One-on-one, there is no way in any form of wrestling I am losing to you.
No, the thing is, I only have a chance if it's slippery, so
Babe,
I can slide around.
I can full shoulder press you above my head.
So? I'm not telling you to lift me above your head. I'm telling you to mud wrestle me.
I will
Bro.
destroy you. 100 times out of 100.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to mud wrestle 100 times. And I'm gonna channel my inner Lindon. And I'm gonna what if I use hornets, okay?
Hornets don't scare me.
What if I split my core?
I will throw you around like a rag doll.
Uh-huh.
I can pick you up with one hand. How are you gonna fight me?
Not unless I hold on. What?
Mud wrestle me. I am literally heavier than two of you. I weigh more than two of you as a person.
Not quite.
Oh, yes, I do.
No, you are about two of me.
No, I weigh more than two of you.
Not right now.
Yes, right now.
No.
I weighed myself 4 days ago. I weigh more than two of you.
Well, I haven't weighed myself in like a year, so...
And you have not changed by like 20 pounds.
I've been squatting real hard, okay?
I weigh more than two of you.
I don't know.
I
think I have a chance.
Bench press more than you weigh.
I think I win like 1 out of 100 times.
I can bench press you. I've done it on video.
Yeah.
On this channel.
I'm talking about a mud wrestle and not a bench press. Okay.
There's simply no way you would win in a mud wrestling match with me.
You don't know that.
Yes, I do!
You can't prove it. You cannot prove it.
Austin Arminio really wants us to talk about this book.
Yes, I see that.
It's so funny because he's also like, you guys don't like it, so I don't like this book club, but also, will you talk about the book more? So
I don't know. I think that it's tough for people who have like future context of the books.
Yeah.
To really like pretend to forget everything.
Yeah.
And put ourselves in the exact same position as us. First of all, no one will ever have the exact same opinion as anybody else because our lived experience
100%.
informs us as a human being. But like it is really tough to watch a thing about a series that you love and you never you probably never stopped halfway through and then again at the end of the first book and had to like analyze and review it. So there's just like, we are going to have a unique perspective on it based on our chosen experience of how we're going to read this book, right? Yeah. If we had like picked up the book and read one or two and then maybe like talked about it a bit, I think that totally changes it. It is really hard to unremember the things that you know from future context because it totally informs your opinion on the origins of the story. And like, I think that's very valid. Like, I don't think I could forget the first Aragon book or like the future Aragon books, and we tried even analyzing the first one, and there's nostalgia and there's there's so many extraneous things that like go into like something like this, and talking about art that no one's ever gonna have the exact same experience, right?
Austin Arminio says, yeah, I get that, but complaining about the series not explaining about the agricultural system of the valley. What I'm trying to say when I say that is not that I need them to explain that people are farming. I know that people are farming. What I'm saying is that by focusing everything on these assholes who only care about the power scaling,
it just makes the world feel less real.
It feels
and fleshed
empty.
Out. Yeah.
It doesn't feel like there is a lot happening outside of that because we never get descriptions of it. One of the things that I love about George R. R. Martin, that I genuinely love about him, is he writes food with such detail. And some people find that really boring, right? Some people find his food descriptions boring and kind of skip through them. But what they do in Game of Thrones is they really make the world feel real.
Sure.
Because by like bringing up the ham, you're insinuating that it spirals out into an insinuation of things that exist in this world to make that possible.
Yeah.
Right? It speaks to the wealth of the characters. It speaks to all sorts of elements of the world. Somebody is buying that at a market. By just mentioning that it exists.
Yeah.
What happens is I assume that there are pig farmers. I don't need to be told that there are pig farmers, but I need you to mention enough about the world that I assume what the technology level of the world is and where things come in for the character's world to exist around them.
Yeah.
What I think that this book kind of did was it just kind of skipped over setting up what kind of a world we're in, and it just skipped to, well, it's the fight day.
Yeah.
And
it's not specifically about the internal farming processes of the valley. That is, That is not actually the criticism. The criticism is that for the world to feel fleshed out, there has to be more going on than the central plot.
Yes.
And it doesn't need to be a focus. It can be tangential, it can be implied, but this book doesn't really have any of that.
Well, and I think that part of the problem is Unsouled sets up that everybody takes this test and is given one of 4 places in society, and none of those 4 places in society are relevant to society existing. They're all combat or like
research
or like combat building. But like,
they basically make weapons. You've got blacksmiths and warriors, kind of.
So everyone takes this test, but then everybody has to. These people must all have jobs that are unrelated to the test, but we never meet anyone with that. Nobody has an actual job in this world that is a named character. Yeah. Everyone is just fighter people who go to a fight competition, and then we go to this school, and like when we go to the dining hall, there is nobody who works there. There is just students and the guy handing out magic seeds. But there's not like a cafeteria lady. There's not even a described cafeteria lady making food.
Yeah.
So the world is just weirdly empty of anybody who it didn't take the test and become short range, long range
blacksmith,
ruler, or a blacksmith.
Yeah.
We don't get a description of any of these people. Everyone is either a student or a teacher, a combatant or a elder, but there's nothing else. There's no bank. There's no, like, the parents don't seem to have, like, his mom has a job. His dad seems to just be sad about the fact that he can't fight anymore.
He doesn't have his job anymore. Yeah. It's just
so it just feels very empty as a book, because I'm like, okay, yeah, like, there's combat, but like, is there a bar?
And
is there a fucking, where do kids hang out? I have no clue where kids hang out in this world.
Yeah.
And so it's all of those things. Why not set up that there's like a bowling alley, not obviously a bowling alley, but like a location where the kids hang out that Lindon is not welcome at.
Right. Yeah.
Because it just kind of seems like these people get up in the morning, they all go to the town square, they meditate, and then they all go beat the shit out of each other somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's about as deep as the book ever gets in terms of society.
Yeah. Now, to play devil's advocate, there are definitely people who this book is short and like to its point, like it doesn't have any excess fat. It is very like streamlined in what it wants to be. And I think for some people, like, they don't want long, like, drawn-out books, or they don't need that fleshing out of the world. I think that this style of storytelling is going to work really well for some people.
100%. It's a best-selling novel. Like, I'm clearly wrong in some ways. It's just my personal opinion.
No, and that's what I mean. I jump in as devil's advocate because I agree with you. I like that stuff in my stories. But I also understand how, like, Cradle, like, the book is easy to pick up and digest if you're not stopping to try and really think about it along the way. Like,
It's not complicated, yeah.
Right? Like, that's, like, our whole show. And so...
Oh, overanalyzing and nitpicking shit is my brand.
Yeah.
If I didn't do that, what would I be?
Yeah. And so, like, I think, like... what... Never mind. And so I want to, like... I want to just acknowledge the merit of, like, this...
I can't believe we have 63,000 subscribers on this channel. For whatever, like, you guys are objectively... Here's the thing. You guys are objectively right. I'm bad at this. But you show up every week. So it's on you. Like, none of this... 2.5 years ago, I started complaining about the Wheel of Time. And you guys have shown up every week since. It's... You do this. If you stopped coming, I would stop doing it. But you're still here. So, like, what am I supposed to do? Stop?
Yeah.
This is my whole life now.
Yeah.
Is just getting told by people on the internet that I react to content wrong.
Yeah. I mean...
And you're not wrong.
That is our brand.
I'm a weird autistic boy on the internet. And I have a beautiful wife who sits here and puts up with me.
Oh, God.
Does this count as why does anyone watch a show? Yeah, why does anyone watch a show?
Yeah, why? I don't know. It is one of those things where, like, we've never set out to make a show that is for everyone. Our show's for us, and it's fun, and it's for the people who like it, and, like, that's totally cool. I still enjoyed the reading of this book when, you know, we sit down and we really, like, analyze it and pick it apart. It is one of those things where I'm like, yeah, it doesn't hold up in the way that I want it to. But most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time when we're watching and reading stuff, I'm having a good time. I'm like, get to, you know, watch or read fantasy or sci-fi. Oh, what? Is Nerdy Pee Break on the bingo card?
No, it's the book. The show's at the wrong time, so my body's in the wrong cycle. If we started at 11, I'd be peeing now after the show.
That's fair.
We fucked up.
That's fair. There are people who have watched our show and watched book club and, like, just think that we're, like, haters, that we, like, hate on everything. And that's really not... I don't feel like that is what our show is. I think that, like, we definitely analyze things in a way that is different from other people and unique from other people. And sometimes it can be overly negative, and sometimes the negativity is a joke. But I still think that, like, it comes from a genuine place of us really, like, peeling back layers and digging in deep in a way that, like, not a ton of people are doing, because most people are out there to be like, yeah, this is what I liked, this is what I didn't like, and that's also okay. Like, I don't want to be like, our content is better than other people's content, or this, like, book is objectively better than this book. I have books that I like better than other books, right? I have shows and movies that I like better than other shows and movies. There are a couple things that I think are objectively bad. Wonder Woman 84 is one of them. Yeah. So that there are examples like that, but most of the time it's us being like, this is what we enjoy, and this is how we like to enjoy content, and I think that it's really cool that we can really deep dive. Johnny Coleman, thank you for that super chat. Literally only people in the entire world that do audiobook reactions? Really? There's not a single other person that does audiobook reactions? Maybe. I can't say I've ever gone and looked. I know. Bahubali, okay. Sir Jim, that one's a weird one because, like...
Nope, you're wrong.
No? Cringiest romantic audiobook.
Oh, we come up first. Is this one public?
Crown of Swords, Chapter 31 audiobook reaction. Yeah, that one. Because we did them public, the free ones public for a while, remember?
This has 5,500 views.
Yeah. I'm shocked. Someone reacted to the full audiobook of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Why?
It's 6.5 hours.
Why? It has 17,000 views. Anyways, doesn't matter.
I don't know that I could do that for 17,000. Should I do a full audiobook reaction of Cradle? It's only 8.5 hours.
That would be wild. That would actually be wild.
We have a sit-stand desk. I could, like, walk.
You could just, like, pace. You could, like, do
Would
stuff.
people be down to do a full book?
Oh my god, no.
A Cradle full book audiobook reaction?
Just the entire
If I'm just
book.
live for 8.5 hours just listening, but you can't hear it?
We'll live stream the final book.
It's just me silently. Oh my god, that'd be so funny. Yes, book 8. Stormlight? No, I don't have 30 hours. I could maybe do 8. Anyway, let's we have questions to get to, so for the final bit of the show here, let's get into your questions. So that we're getting to that stuff. Starting with Johnny Coleman, think of that super chat. Full audiobook of Animorphs, 3-ish hours. I would do a 3-ish hour audiobook reaction. That sounds fun. The problem is I've already read the Animorphs. And I love the Animorphs. So it would be like remembering, because I haven't read it in a long time, but I do love Animorphs. In Cradle, do beards absorb power and wisdom? As in generally accepted as true? I don't fucking know. By beards, do you mean like Lindon is Jaren's beard because she's gay? I don't know. Do beards absorb power and wisdom? I mean, I guess you would have some power in your beard, right? Because you'd cycle your Madra through them. So maybe? I don't know. Arzu says, what would you have taken from the treasure room? What would you have taken from the treasure room, Clarus?
What would I have taken? The pet, of course.
That's fair.
What the fuck?
I would have.
What question is that?
I would have taken the Nimbus Cloud.
That's fair.
Because I love Dragon Ball.
Also, what if we did a full book audio reaction? We didn't have to do it all at the same time. You just do it in parts.
Well, no, but we would do it in
one
like.
video.
We would do it in one and then.
But we don't have to. We could do like 2 or 3 hours.
If people are willing to pay for all of the chapters individually.
Don't tempt them.
I'll do it.
Do you know how many chapters we're reacting to in Way of Games?
If people pay for it, I'll do it. I said that. People want to pay as long as the book isn't one chapter.
Well, here's the thing: we gotta listen to at least 1.5 speed. That is the consensus, though.
Are you disappointed that in a power fantasy, the main character didn't actually power up a full level in book 1? I think he powered up multiple levels in book 1.
Huh?
I think that Lindon powered up multiple levels. I think the splitting the cores was a big power up moment.
But he didn't get like a badge.
The badges don't mean anything, though.
They kind of seem like they don't. Here's the thing. I would say that he kind of levels up in the way that he uses the fruit, and he's like, this thing wouldn't have worked if I hadn't gotten the fruit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like that, in a way, does feel like a level up, but...
He beats up a lot of kids, you guys. He beats up a lot of children.
Yeah, I don't, like, based on the story that was told, I don't actually see a way for him to have, like, gotten to Copper, so...
James
I'm
Ross
not
says,
actually that disappointed.
yeah, he is still would, which it's been more than 4 hours, so he should speak to his doctor about that. No, I wasn't bothered by that. I don't care about the power levels as much as the book does. So I was like I'm more for like him not needing to power up to get better. Yeah. I think that's more interesting anyway. So no, I wasn't disappointed in that. I was disappointed in the book, but not in that part of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. You like the book more than I did. I think that's fair to say.
I had fun reading it in a way that like when we sit down and we talk about it, I'm like,
I liked Jaren.
Yeah. And here's the thing. There are things that I really loved about it. I think Jaren is great. I like Lindon and Jaren together. I know I like Lindon more than you do. I like his problem-solving skills and how he does the most fucking backwards things to get what he wants. I think that's great. The world, to me, I do not feel like I understand. But I had fun reading it.
In Chapter 19, How Many Fireworks for a Letter asks, we see a familiar enemy of Nerdy. Do you think you will ever be free of man-sized holes and walls in books? No, I don't. I think that as long as we are reading books, authors will continue to not understand how much force it takes to get through a hole, to get a man-sized hole in a wall.
I don't know about that. I think we're like pretty solid on that one.
Ooh, shit. Nicholas Reed asking the real questions. Would you rather fight 50 children or 25 ghost bees? 50 kids.
Is it one at a time or is it all together?
Doesn't matter. I would pick up the first child and then I would use his body as a club to beat the other children.
Wow.
With my reach, I could beat up 50 children easy before they get any blows in on me.
Taken out of context, that seems insane.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. The first child whose head explodes in a shower of blood would scare the other children into not wanting to participate in that fight.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, if they were rabid, unthinking children, maybe they have a chance. But I only need to violently murder, like, one child.
To scare them off, yeah.
To scare the rest of the children into being like, oh, this is not worth dying for.
Now, to be fair, I don't think Lindon murdered any of them. But it's never said otherwise, so maybe...
We don't ever see them again.
We never see them again.
His actions do get them killed eventually, because the Wei clan gets wiped out, so...
Yeah.
They also ask, what did you think of the concept of bloopers in a book?
I thought it was fun.
It was cute.
Especially because it highlights...
He acknowledged some moments where he's like, yeah, it was convenient.
Well, certain, like, ridiculous things. Like, the moment where Lindon sees a fucking god descend from the sky and starts screaming, like... That was very funny. Because, like, you know that, like, somebody that would have been the reaction, obviously not the protagonist of our story, but, like, in another timeline, in another world, like, someone's just like, oh my god, ah! Like, they can't handle it.
It's like Pixar bloopers. Yeah, it's cute. It's fun.
It's fun. I love it.
I think that, like, if you complain about it, it's like, why? You know what I mean? Like, if you don't like it, it's like, then don't listen to it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I think that, like, having a problem with it is so goofy because it doesn't... It's like people who have problems with, like, deleted scenes where they're like, wow, this scene's really bad. And I'm like, yeah, it's not in the movie.
It's deleted.
Why do you think they fucking deleted it?
Yeah.
Like, they filmed it thinking maybe it would fit into the movie. They probably screened 15 versions of the movie that had that scene in. It didn't work, and they cut it out. It's not like people deleted scenes. It's not like they made it to piss you off. Now, Blue says, I mean, y'all didn't have a choice here. You took the bribe. Yeah, but we were paid. Like, I can't complain about getting paid to, like, listen to a blooper reel.
No, it was great. I had a great time.
I also generally like bloopers, and I'm a big fan of blooper reels in general.
Yeah, they're fun.
So it was kind of, you know, it was obviously fake bloopers, but...
Yeah.
I thought at first that it was just going to be, like, maybe, like... Because if I were to do an audiobook, I think it would be really funny to leave in all of my dyslexic moments as a blooper chapter at the end. Of me just, like, really fucking up so hard. Yeah, it was cute.
I love that.
Time Walker says, do you think Lindon can break his cores again to begin the path of quad stars?
Only if they go into his legs.
Only if we can call him Quadraneros. What? I like the fucking pod racers. I'm fans of the pod racers, and I like Ben Quadraneros.
I have a feeling it's like a Horcrux, and you can only split your soul so many times before it goes bad.
I think he'll be able to split again. I just don't think he'll be able to split again until he levels his core up a little bit, and then I think he'll be able to split it.
I don't think so. I'm gonna say my prediction is nah.
No, I think he has to. No, I think he has to be able to in order to get more powerful, right? Because I think that Suriel must have an insane number of cores to be able to do all the different things she's able to do. Like, because he splits his core and now he can have sword vital aura and he can do another vital aura. So I think ultimately he's gonna have to have a bunch of different cores that have a bunch of different, like Suriel must have like time aura and space aura and celestial aura.
I actually think that that's incorrect, only because Jaren is surprised at him splitting his cores. And Jaren can do a bunch of different things. Jaren can...
No, she can't. She can only channel Sword Madra. She
no.
only has Sword Madra.
She's like, nah, I did the scripture thing, I did the sword thing, I've done... Like, they literally list
she can
all
do
the
the
different stuff.
She can do the 4 styles. She knows how to do all 4 styles of her thing, but she's only has Sword Madra. She never uses any other Madra. She can just forge...
It's all Madra.
So she can use Sword Madra for the 4 different things, which is like the Striker, Enforcer, Forger, and... Right? So she can do all 4 things within Sword Madra, but she can only use Sword Madra. Now...
What?
I'm just right. Blue says I'm right and he's read all of them, so I am correct here. So she's stuck with sword shit. By splitting his cores multiple times, he will eventually be able to use different Madras, because he'll be able to channel different specific Madras into different cores.
I'm so confused.
So he'll always be able to...
I was like, oh, I finally understand this magic system, and it's that, like, you can actually do anything you want.
As soon as he splits... as long as he keeps one core pure, he'll always be able to open hand, because he'll have pure Madra in one of his cores. But he'll keep splitting to learn other cores.
So you, like, contaminate your Madra?
Yes.
Why would anyone do that?
Because
Why not
you have
just
to go down
pure?
a path. Because you can't path pure Madra. All of the paths pull you towards a specific Madra.
Why has no one made a pure path?
That's what Lindon is doing.
I thought I got it.
You were like, I nailed it. I finally got it in.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
I can't.
Hey,
sure.
Can I tell you something?
Mm-hmm.
I love you so much, and you are my favorite person on the planet.
But.
No, that's it.
Oh, okay.
I just love you so much.
I love you too.
Especially when you're confident that you finally got it and
yeah,
you don't
like,
got it.
Okay, we got to the end of the book and I understand that everything that I thought I knew about the world is a lie and that you can actually kind of do whatever you want. But that's also not true.
Facts. Yeah, no, she just uses Sword Madra, but she can do all 4 things. So there's 3 things, right? There's pathing, which it has like types of Madra. There's the techniques, which don't use specific Madra, they're just techniques. Then there's Vital Aura, which is a separate thing. All of that is part of the magic system.
Okay, yeah. Whatever.
Cradle. Time Walker says, which do you think would have made Lindon stronger, eating the flower before separating his core, or separating his core and giving half of the flower to each? That's actually a very interesting question.
I don't know. Maybe it depends on how hard you cycle each one.
Equal. I think it would be 100% equal, because energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be converted. So I don't think that by splitting his core, he actually gains or loses energy. I think it is the same. Otherwise, physics doesn't exist.
Unless it takes half the amount of energy for 2 cores to cycle a flower.
But the energy of the flower...
I don't know. I clearly do not understand this magic system at all.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I don't get it.
You have 11 more books to figure it out. You're going to get there. I believe in you.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
Thank you.
Fuck, I love this show. I don't know why anyone else does, but I love this show. Talkamore Althor says, how do you feel about crabs? I am glad that my generation stopping or shaving our pubes so much mostly got rid of them as a disease.
They're still around. I don't know. I have weird feelings about crabs because I'm currently rewatching House of the Dragon season 1, and those things are vicious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of crabs. I like crab legs. They're tasty.
I don't.
Yeah.
I
Dip
like
them in butter.
Fish, not so much seafood, and you like seafood, but you don't like fish. It is the true tragedy of our relationship.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I like crab. I'll eat lobster. I like... Scallops are okay if they're, like, really well made. But I don't think that that's a taste thing. I just think that, like, scallops... Like, the level of cooking you have to do to make scallops good is high. And I think that mostly, scallops are a tough one.
Fair.
Yeah. Why does Cradle attract so many crab comments? I have no idea, Ember Eyes. People keep bringing up crabs, and I don't actually know what it is.
I don't think it's a Cradle thing. I think it's a Cosmere thing, but I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea what it is. Johnny Coleman says, how do you feel about kaiju? Big fan.
What is that?
I love you so much. Kaiju is like Godzilla. Big monster attack.
Wait, any monster or it's Godzilla?
Well, like Godzilla's kind of like the original kaiju, but like it's all of them.
So
Mothra,
any big monster.
Yeah, it's like the Japanese word for like big monster attack. King Ghidorah, King Kong now is technically a kaiju because of monster stuff.
But they didn't say
Pacific
plural.
Rim.
He just said kaiju.
Kaiju is the plural of kaiju.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not confusing at all. So
That's how like so many words work.
No, it's not plural if it's moose.
Yeah, it is. Moose is the plural of moose.
No.
Yes, it is. You can have many moose. Yeah.
No.
That's just a fact. That's just how the word works.
No.
Like sheep. Multiple sheep is sheep. You have one sheep or you have two sheep. Red sheep,
is
blue
fair.
sheep.
I think moose is a lie.
It's not. Moose
thought
is
it was
just
like
that's just how
meese.
words work. No, it's definitely not meese.
Moosin. Yeah. I have no feelings about kaiju because clearly
You don't like kaiju movies?
I've seen one.
You've seen Pacific Rim.
Nope. Never seen Pacific Rim.
What have you seen that has kaiju? No, goose is geese, but moose is moose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We watched that one Godzilla movie. And that's it.
Yeah. That's crazy. Because I love kaiju. There's a great kaiju movie. Oh, I need you guys' help. It is fucking Fantine from Les Mis.
Anne Hathaway
and Jason Sudeikis.
Uh-huh.
It is
I've also never seen Cloverfield, so.
yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's a great movie. So Anne Hathaway and Jason Sudeikis live in this small town, and when Anne Hathaway goes to this playground in the middle of the night, a kaiju appears on the other side of the planet and starts attacking Colossus. It might be Colossus.
Spoilers.
Starts attacking Tokyo. And that's what the movie's about. And it is honestly so fucking good. Like, I went to see it in theaters thinking, like, this is going to be the dumbest movie ever. And I left being like, that was utterly brilliant. I fucking loved it so much. I really, 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 really loved it so much. Colossal. That's what it is. Colossal. Such a good movie. Cloverfield, great. I thought you didn't like shaky cam, Nerdy. I don't dislike shaky cam. I don't like no. I don't like shaky cam action sequences. I don't like when you're like, oh, our choreography is bad, so we're gonna shake the camera to make it look like the fight choreography is good. I like found footage movies though.
Okay.
The shaky cam in Cloverfield is part of the style of the movie. It's also a low budget film versus the shaky cam in fucking Snake Eyes, the G.I. Joe movie, which is just terrible to watch. Which sucks because I think Henry Golding is actually good at choreography. I just think the shaky cam ruins the choreography. In that movie.
That one was actually tragic.
Yeah, no, I like found footage movies. I prefer found footage horror movies, and Cloverfield is more of a found footage horror movie than it is like a kaiju movie.
That's probably why I haven't seen it.
But it's really, really, really excellent. And all three of I've never seen the third one. I've only seen the first two.
Okay, does the Balrog count as a kaiju?
No, not big enough.
Okay.
It has to be like large enough to like clomp a city.
Clomp a city, like in one step.
City. Not one step.
Godzilla's not that big.
Yeah, he is. He steps on buildings.
Yeah, but not a whole city.
Well, yeah, but he destroys a city. Like a Balrog is like 20 feet tall. Like he's not big enough.
Okay.
You have to be like as tall as a skyscraper to be a kaiju. We should watch Pacific Rim. That'd be really fun.
All right.
The first one's so good. Fucking Guillermo del Toro, man. Anyway, John Coleman also asks, is a fairy if it performs pranks like a pixie? I don't think that... That's like saying, like, is Eminem black because he raps like a black person? And I just don't think that's how it works. I think he's still white.
Last time I checked. I think he's still white.
I knew that would get you so hard.
Wow. Wow. Are you saying that fairies can only have a certain kind of personality and that pixies can only have some kind of personality?
That's racist.
That's terrible.
That's racist.
Johnny Coleman, how dare you? Okay? Fairies can pull pranks if they feel like it. Probably. Damari
says, I haven't seen Uprising yet. It's good. It's not as bad as people gave it when it came out. It's not amazing. It's just good. But John Boyega is great in it.
All right.
Arzu.
Oh, I've seen Attack on Titan. That's kaiju.
I guess, yeah. I guess you could. That's not really kaiju because it's just all people. They're not monsters.
They're pretty monstrous.
Is Attack on Titan a kaiju thing? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Lou says Uprising is trash. What, you didn't like the scene where the guy has brain sex with the brain jar?
Is this cyberpunk?
No.
Oh.
It's a wild thing. How do you feel about mech suits, Klaus? What have you seen that has mech suits in it?
Fallout.
Technically a mech suit? Okay. I don't think that's what they're talking about.
We did watch Halo.
Not mech suits.
Oh, what do you mean not mech suits?
Like, those are just, like, body suits. Mech suits are more like you're in the suit, but, like, it's more like Voltron, Gundam Wing, Pacific Rim again. Because you're not, like, your arms aren't in the arms. You're, like, piloting the mech from, like, a middle chamber of a much larger thing.
Oh, so your limbs just don't go where the limbs go.
I think yeah, Halo's not mech suits. That's just, like, armor.
Well, I've seen Fallout, so that was pretty cool. Thumbs up.
You've never seen, like, any Voltron? You've never seen Gundam? You've never seen, like... Oh, Power Rangers. You've never seen Power Rangers anything? Wait, have you seen an episode of a Power Rangers TV show?
No. And I have no desire to.
Can we please react to the first episode of Power Rangers?
Why?
It's 20 minutes.
Maybe.
Guys, wait, no. We should react. We should do a reaction to the Green Saga from the original Power Rangers. That would be so fun.
Blue, I just rewatched The Lord of the Rings, Riverdance, and Annie over and over again, and Star Wars. So...
Yeah, mechs are giant, power armor is roughly human size. I would agree with that.
I, wasn't allowed to watch, anime stuff. I wasn't allowed to watch Pokemon, even though I did it. And I wasn't allowed to watch Sailor Moon. So I actually never saw that one.
That's not mech suits, or that's not relevant.
No, I'm just saying, I missed out. I am willing to admit, I missed out on a lot of stuff.
We know. Everyone who watches the show is aware.
Yeah, I love SpongeBob. SpongeBob, great show.
Does SpongeBob ever have a mech suit?
Does he? Maybe.
Arzu asks, make a prediction. In which book does Lindon reach gold, if any? I think based on the fact that gold isn't that high in the grand scheme of things, I'm going to say book 3.
Well, how old is Jaren? Jaren seems like not that much older than him. So I think he could reach it. You say book 3?
Yeah, I'm going to say book 3.
To be different, I'm going to say book 5.
Yes, we both think it'll happen in the first half of the series.
Yeah. I think so.
Robot Crabs is sort of a mech suit. That's fair. Plankton is much smaller. Yeah, that actually does kind of work.
Does that mean everyone is a kaiju to Plankton?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Blue says, which badge would you want to be given?
Sapphire. Because sapphires can come in any color, which is really cool. That's why they're a really versatile stone. What?
That's not what it's asking.
Oh, sorry. I would get my knitting badge. Or maybe
that just reminded me so much of what's the perfect date? May 25th, because it's not too hot, not too cold. All you need is a light jacket.
Not wrong though. Okay.
I would want the Forger badge. I don't really care about fighting. I would rather be building stuff. I think that sounds more fun.
Yeah, if we're doing the first 4, I think...
There's just only 4.
Well, But there's multiple. I don't get it. Why is there no fucking sword badge that you can get later on? Okay.
Because that's specifically the kind of Madra that she wields. But it's still the 4 things.
Alright, I'm gonna need you.
She can just do all 4 of them.
To back all the way off.
Oh my god.
We should make a fucking pitch meeting for Cradle.
Absolutely not. People will be like, you're being so mean.
Yeah.
Why do you think there are only 4 nerdy? Because that's what's in the book! Austin. Because I haven't read the other books yet!
That's why I don't get it.
Because even Jaren is like, I can do all 4 of them! I don't know, Austin! I don't know yet! I haven't read the other books! I'm not you!
We're trying so hard to be you, but we're not there yet.
Blue, why would I choose Unsouled willingly? How is that an option?
To be pure and virgin.
I haven't been a virgin in too long. I don't remember what it was like.
I don't remember.
It's been decades.
Oh my god.
Demetrios says, I haven't read this book. If I asked you, should I read this book, what would your top 2 reasons for reading it and against reading it? Ooh, I like that question.
Okay.
My top 2 reasons for reading it. It is short. And some of the combat scenes are cool.
Yeah.
My reasons not to read it.
Yeah.
It leans heavily on a Deus Ex Machina moment that you're either on board with or you aren't.
Mm-hmm.
And the characters are a little aren't very well fleshed out.
Yeah.
So I just I
Which
I
goes
didn't
hand in
care
hand
very
with
much.
it's like a short book, so yeah.
Yeah. No, you can have a short book that has very deep characters. These characters are just not written to be deep.
And I think there's too many, but like
there's no attempt to make them deep.
Yeah.
It's not like he failed to write deep characters. He wrote shallow characters intentionally.
Yeah, the like Valley people
Yeah.
are they're very much all just like
Yeah.
bigoted.
It would be different if he like wrote something that didn't work.
Right.
But what he wrote works. It's just not interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he failed at what he was trying to accomplish. I think that he just wrote something that is like shallow in its choices, not in its execution. Because I think the execution is fine. Like I don't think he's a bad writer. He just executed something that I'm not particularly interested in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's like depending on the style of stories that you like and the style of storytelling that you like. I think there's a lot to get out of this book or less so.
What are your 2 reasons for reading it and 2 reasons against?
For it, I think like the like sci-fi element, the like larger than life element is like is definitely intriguing for sure.
Yeah.
And like watching how Lindon problem solves is delightful. But yeah, I clearly don't understand how the magic system or this world works. So that would be my against.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sedai.
What?
Demi Sedai.
No, it's Demi Desai.
No.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got there. It's fine.
Which terrible, horrible, no good, very bad person is worse, Lee Marcuth or Elder Whitehall?
Hello.
Here's the thing. I don't actually know that Lee Marcuth is a bad person.
Well, he definitely like beheaded 2 people for no reason, and then killed a
He
third
got
person
revenge.
for.
I don't know. The book didn't tell me.
Right.
All I know is that Lee Marcuth. All I know about Lee Marcuth is that he showed up, was like, your people fucked me so hard. I should kill all of you, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to kill your elder to prove a point. And then God showed up and was like, you shouldn't be here. And he was like, no, I should. I didn't break the pact. And God was like, well, I don't care. I'm going to take you to prison anyway. I don't know that he did anything wrong.
I think anyone who holds to the sins of your forefathers is a terrible person. Your ancestors fucked me up, so I'm gonna murder you. Like, you know, that. Whereas I've never seen Elder Whitehall, like, murder anybody. So I'm gonna say Lee Marcuth. He's a fucking prick.
I mean, he only attempted murder.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. We see Lee Marcuth murder 3 people, and Elder Whitehall doesn't, so.
Elder Whitehall failed at murdering.
Exactly. Yeah.
So he's a better person because his murder failed.
Yeah.
Claris Polaris, everyone. Demi Sedai also says, how many Emerald Hornet remnants is the Wei clan's precious honor worth? In all seriousness, what do you think of how honor is depicted in the story? Do I need to go into that more?
I know, it doesn't make sense. I do not understand it.
There's no honor in cheating, so like the whole book just... and I think that's ultimately what it is. I think the reason why we've spent 6 hours complaining about this book, and why mostly me...
Honor by any means is a literal oxymoron.
Yeah, I think that like the fundamental way that this book was built on that idea doesn't work for me, and so nothing about the book really worked for me because it's all predicated on you being into
but I think that the point is that it's backwards, so I'm holding reservation on that.
I'm hopeful that the future books in this series make me like this series a lot, and I think I'm just gonna let go of book 1 in a way that I try and do with some things. And I get accused a lot of like deciding immediately if I like something or not and then never changing my mind. I don't think that is true, but
no,
I don't think that's true. I'm really hopeful that it's good from here on out. And I honestly think it will be better than book 1 because Jaren will be there. And I think Lindon is just more interesting as a character when he can talk to somebody, as opposed to just being all internal monologue.
I think people get confused because like you have a storytelling style and like you have like things that you like.
Yes.
And when things are not the thing that like if
autism takes over.
If it's not the thing that you like, you're like, it's not for me. And I think people get confused they think that is you making a snap judgment in 5 minutes to hate a thing, but it's not the same at all.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is the show. This show. Because I think that once there's chat and once I'm arguing with chat, I have fun antagonizing chat. And so I think that everything comes across more negative because I'm having a good time being the villain.
Mm-hmm. We changed our mind about Cyberpunk. Right? Like
we changed our mind about Wheel of Time. I really liked it until book 7.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, when did I change my mind about Cyberpunk?
Well, the first 3 episodes, we were kind of like, all right.
The first 2. I really like episode 3.
Yeah, sorry. Like, the beginning was like, okay, it's all right. And then we were like, holy fuck, this is amazing. So...
I did drastically change my mind about Wheel of Time. I still think book 4 of the Wheel of Time is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have dislike triggers, which is very different from how a lot of people function. That's probably true.
Yeah, you're like, that's not my thing.
I think
people
that
are like, wow.
This show is mostly about, on my half of the table, is watching an autistic person spin out about their own autism and has less to do with the actual books that we read.
We are actually the Truman Show, and everyone's just watching us.
Claris gives you, like, actual book opinions, and I spiral.
I think a book club is partially also me being like, I don't understand how this functions, so I'm going to make a really crazy prediction that sometimes might be right.
Amp says, I'm 51% sure half of Nerdy's hard stances are reaction bait for chat participation. That's true. They're not my stances. I stand by what I say.
That's true.
But if we were having a conversation in public about these things, you would realize they're not that hard of a stance. I don't care that much. But because of the show, I have to care because it's a show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think this book is very good. I'm not going to lie. I think it's fine. I think that it sets up potential for future books to be good, which is what you said.
Yeah.
I just don't think that this book is... I don't think this book is great. And we've read truly great books on this show.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we really have.
Which really, I
Shadow Rising is
loves.
one of the greatest fantasy books I've ever read.
Absolutely.
The Mistborn trilogy is excellent.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there are so many elements of what we've read where I'm like, no, we've read such fucking art.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a great book. I think it's fine. I think that it's, like, readable. I think it's quick.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
And it could be great in the future. I'm open to, like, loving Lindon and Jaren's adventures. I just don't think this one did anything
It seems to be a small part of a much larger whole, right? People say it gets better at, like, book 3. There's, like, that there's a thing about this. The fact that it is short like this, I think, is working for it because people have the time to get to where it hits its stride. Whereas if this book was the length of, like, the first Wheel of Time book, I would be like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to devote to 14 books. But because Cradle books
if it was this shallow and that long, oh my god.
Yeah. But that's what I mean, is that, like, I'm like, okay, this was pretty quick. I'll read book 2. I'll read book 3. If by book 4 I'm still not feeling it, then maybe I don't need to. Right? I think that is that the fact that it is short works heavily in its favor.
Getty Disciple says, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you so much.
Cradle is my 3rd favorite series of all time, and I still don't think book 1 is very good.
Well, there you go. See?
This is the thing. People are like, you're complaining about this book a lot. And I'm like, you guys don't seem to like it. Like, why are you mad at me? No one's out here being like, the first book's the best one, but everyone's mad at me for doing my show about the fucking book that they don't think is very good. I'm confused.
They're mad at you in the way that you're mad at chat. And you're like,
I'm not mad at chat. I love chat.
We're
don't watch the audiobook reaction.
Fighting.
Yeah, I wish I could fight with chat more. I wish, guys, could we do Creator Clash? But the Creator Clash is that you have to get in the ring and fight me.
No.
Creators clash with their audience. That's a funny creator clash.
Oh, I don't know how I feel about that.
How many members of our community do you think I could beat up?
As many children as Lindon, I guess. I don't know. Like, you're 6'4". What the fuck?
Yeah, it's true.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight Nerdy against chat, but it's all of chat against one of Nerdy.
Fabu, you and I both know you would not win that. I would knock you out, and then I'd lay you down on that chair you slept in for a week for roleplay relay.
I bet Fabu fights dirty.
I got reach, though. I'm long.
You have weirdly long arms. Like, your limbs are unfairly long, and mine are unfairly short.
I'm 6'4", and my arms are too long for my body.
Yeah. Like, our shoulders, like, side by side, like, you're, like... Like, our shoulders are in line.
To be fair, I am a lot taller than you.
Yes, but still.
Oh, no. I'm built like a gorilla. I know. My doctor told me that at a young age.
I love that for you.
No, when I went through puberty, I broke my toe, and so I had to get my bones x-rayed, and they're like, "Oh, your arms are not the right size for your body."
God damn.
Yeah.
James MC.
You know who else has that? Michael Phelps. One of us is an Olympic swimmer, and the other is me.
I recommend bringing a Way of Kings instead. I've heard that one's a fucking monster.
Somebody up top said, wait, did you, James MC said, wait, did you not like The Wheel of Time? I really like the first 6 books. I think the first 6 books are great. I did not like it after that.
Yep.
And even the first 6 books, I did have some complaints, but not nearly like this. I do. I think Shadow Rising's great. I just think that series kind of falls apart. And I don't like the end.
I
really like Gathering Storm. The 11th book, or 12th book, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 12th book is the reason why we're reading Brandon Sanderson now, because I was like, oh, Gathering Storm's great.
Yeah.
Wait, there's more questions. Do you think Jaren plus Nightblood would be a good combo?
Oh my god. It depends on...
Could you cycle the breath?
How many breaths? Because Nightblood runs on breaths, and so Jaren would have to, have enough breath to power...
Oh, it was rhetorical. James Dempsey was like, no, I was here.
And James was like, I sat through that whole thing.
I don't know how people got through book club back then. We did weeks of me not...
People didn't.
It has more views than this does.
Sure, yeah.
Those episodes of me being a fucking whiny little bitch about Wheel of Time still have more views than anything from Brandon Sanderson yet.
Really?
Yeah, oh god, yeah. They're all in the thousands.
Well, goddamn.
I think.
I fucking don't know. I don't look at our stuff. It gives me anxiety.
That's fair.
Playlist. Oh, this would be good.
Where's the Nerdy Wordy Book Club?
I see Cosmere. I see Inheritance.
Wow, we've made a lot of content.
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with us?
How do you guys have time to watch all this shit?
They don't. Our community is like, you way too much content. I can't keep up with it all.
Yeah, these are all 5.
Why do those ones not have numbers on them? Oh, those are the audiobook reactions. Yeah.
6.6.
Damn.
6, 7, yeah. Oh, no, book club used to be banging, and then I complained so much, and now it's less banging. But we have better people here now.
Everyone's like, Nerdy's on his shit again, you know?
Yeah.
Times 2 speed, okay, that's so real, though. I can't, listening to stuff on normal speed, I can't do it.
Wow, yeah, we used to get fucking views for this show. What happened?
We said slavery was bad, and all of the fucking Southerners
and
were
you've made a lot of discontent.
Some content and discontent.
Even Crossroads of Twilight has 8.5K for the first part of Crossroads of Twilight. That book is bad.
Yeah.
That is one of the worst books I've ever read in my life.
Yeah, but so many people agreed with us on that. You know what I mean?
This Crown of Swords has 11,000 views.
Wild.
Crazy.
We do.
There are a lot of videos in this playlist that should not be in this playlist.
Really?
Yeah. There's like Wheel of Time trailer reactions. Like, what is this? This is not a Nerdy Wordy Book Club video.
Oops. We're really good at our jobs, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, no, we're like we hover in the like 2,000 to 5,000 range now.
Yeah. I mean, Wheel of Time is like much older. It has like a wider audience. There's so many more people that are familiar with it, so I think that makes sense.
Oh,
well.
One of the Final Empire ones is almost 6K.
Hey,
oh, actually, the Final Empire prologue got 8.3.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good job, chat. You watched it.
I feel really like one thing I'm really grateful for about the show is that I'm not really doing it for views. Like, I wouldn't change. Oh yeah, the AOT drama was happening as well. Yeah, I wouldn't change the show to get more views because the show is the show. It just is what it is at this point. Like, this is what we do.
Yeah.
If people, I would rather get 2,000 views with the community that we have than like fight about slavery with people more than we used to.
Yeah.
Because that was exhausting.
Yeah. No, it's cool. People who stuck around are the real ones.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, we appreciate you. Like, book club is so much fun. It's why we were like, oh no, you have an audition Friday. We gotta make sure that we can do book club. I'm not gonna put it off another week. Like.
Yeah, and I think that like the fact that this many people showed up on a Thursday when we gave 1 day's notice, like that's just a testament that this show's great. And like, you know, I'm not.
And I'm definitely, you know, I'm sorry that it was a very last minute change, but it's how the industry works. It's like, you have an audition in 48 hours. Fuck you. Like,
I'm honestly, with how Blue says I forgot about the AOT people who used to come in and complain. I honestly am surprised that when I said that I would watch it all for $100 an episode, somebody didn't do it.
Yeah, right.
Because I would. It's only like $700.
Yeah, it covered Brandon's like editing cost.
If someone covered, I said if someone covered Brandon editing it, I would post it, and no one did, and I was kind of surprised given how like we made thousands of dollars, literally thousands of dollars off people hating us.
Yeah.
And I'm just surprised that no one paid it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I don't really like. Doesn't.
We don't need to put ourselves through that.
We make enough money.
We don't need to put our mods through that again.
Yeah, that was the big problem was the people coming into the Discord. Anyway, we should talk about Cradle.
We have more questions.
There's not that many more. Anyway, Jaren Nightblood. I don't know how they'd interact, but I think that I want the conversations more than I want the combat.
Fair.
I think
that's fair.
Jaren would have such a specific idea of what the value of a sword's soul is, and Nightblood I think would push back on that, and I think it would be very funny to watch her try to convince him that being a sword is like an honorable thing, and Nightblood wouldn't give a shit.
I feel that.
Time Walker says, now that you've read 5 Cosmere books, do you see why Sanderson wrote Androl so well, and what does this have to do with Cradle?
It doesn't. It's just questions.
Right. I agree. I think that I do. After 5 Cosmere books, I understand why Androl's one of my favorite Wheel of Time casts.
Yeah, characters.
And to this day, like, I think that Androl stands out in that series because he's interesting and because he's so specific. And I think that when I look back on Wheel of Time, like, it's like, what do you remember about Matt? I'm like, oh, he became the Prince of the Slaves. And it's like, well, that's not a great thing to remember him for.
Yeah.
What else do you remember about Matt? He, like, got really turned on watching women get enslaved.
Yeah.
So it's, like, Androl being, like, so specific and also, like, not really having, like, that weird context shit added to him makes him memorable.
Yeah, and also, like, using the power in creative ways. Like, we didn't see a lot of experimentation from our characters in that way, in the way that Androl does. I think we'd see it in other ways, but also, like, the characters were discouraged to fuck around.
Yeah.
Which makes it difficult. And like I said, I think that they do, but it's...
I'm bored. It's like, whoa, I don't remember that about Matt. You were not here in those book club days because we talked about it for hours.
Yeah, it was like, wow, I really liked Matt, and now, nope.
I still see people post, like, Matt's my favorite character in Wheel of Time, and I, like, steady my thumbs and not respond because I just want to be like, have you read all of the books, though?
And hey, if you stopped after, like, 7, I don't blame you.
Have you read all of them?
Yeah. Yeah, I get Androl and why he was such a breath of fresh air within the series.
Yeah, 100%.
Demetrios asks, fuck, marry, kill Martin, Paolini, or Sanderson. It's weird because we've met one of them. Like, these are, like, real human beings, not, like, characters.
Okay, I'm gonna marry Brandon Sanderson because
I don't know if I could marry into the Mormon Church. I'm so sorry.
I would get him out.
I think he's in there to try and change things.
Here's the thing. Brandon Sanderson is still publishing at like a level that the other two can't meet, and so financially I'm going to be taken care of. Did you see how much that last Kickstarter made? I'm marrying Brandon Sanderson for the money.
I was going to make a terrible joke. I was like, if George R. R. Martin died today or in 10 years, I don't think it would change how many books came out. Which is a terrible thing to say, and I'm a horrible person, and I'm sorry. But I don't know how much more George R. R. Martin is going to write, so I'm going to kill George R. R. Martin. Mary Sanderson and...
No, see, I'm killing Paolini.
Oh, wow. That's rude.
Look, I love the guy, but having met him, he seems like a pretty stand-up vanilla bedroom guy.
Sure.
You know? And I just don't think I could get fucked by a guy with that hat on.
I don't think he wears...
I don't know. I think he wears the hat in bed.
It's really weird because we've met him.
George R. R. Martin, as much as I don't want to marry him, although actually, I think that I would marry George R. R. Martin. I feel like living on a like wolf plantation in fucking New Mexico.
What is a wolf plantation?
Doesn't George R. R. Martin have doesn't he live on like a wolf reservation?
I think that's the word you're looking for.
Anyway. I feel like George R. R. Martin and I would have fun. No, but here's the thing. I'm marrying Brandon Sanderson for the money. I'm fucking George R. R. Martin because he's weird, and I feel like he's got like kinky fucking weird tastes, and we'd have a really weird fun night.
All right.
And then Paolini I know, and so I'm just gonna say that I kill him because I don't want to say that I want to have sex with him because that's weird because we've met him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Go watch the Chris Paolini interview. It's almost at 10,000 views.
Yeah, honestly, it's a gre't interview.
Thank you everyone who's watched
I'm fucking proud of us for that one.
That was fun.
It was great. Wolf Plantation is amazing.
I don't fucking... Wolf Plantation sounds like a really fucked up gay strip club. Yeah.
Where a bunch of wolves go to plant their seeds.
Martin's net worth is way higher than Sanderson, God Getty Disciple says. No, Sanderson is hiding it in the Mormon church.
Well,
we don't know how much he's actually worth. I don't know. I just think it would be fun to like... Brandon Sanderson is rich, but he's always writing, so I would have so much free time to just be rich.
Yeah. Also, I'm bored. I'm so sorry that we are, like, re-implanting this information about Matt into your head because there's so much to love about him as a character until he gets really horny for Tuan because she's really good at enslaving women and then becomes king of the slaves. Crazy that is a sentence I can say, and it is true. Yeah.
It's true. All right. Early Ann says, I loved the blooper section. What bloopers come to mind for past book club books? Aside from he came on her from behind.
Great moment.
Oh my God. I have no idea.
I don't know. It really depends on the sense of humor that the author has. And so I don't know if like Robert Jordan could have written bloopers in a way that would have been funny. His attempts at humor were not my favorite. But I think like maybe bloopers for like
the heist parts of Mistborn would have been funny.
Yeah, or I was
from like
say,
book one.
Like
bloopers of Vin trying to use powers and like falling.
What is the book called?
Emperor's Soul?
Nope.
Aragon?
Nope.
Elantris?
Yeah, I was like, it's an E word. It's not Emperor's Soul. I think there could have been some good bloopers for Elantris, you know?
Yeah, Suli. You want some bloopers, Suli? I've got some bloopers for you, Suli.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what bloopers come to mind because they didn't happen. I would have to invent new bloopers.
Yeah, that's why I went with authors. And I'm like, I don't know about like Robert Jordan writing them, but I think like Sanderson could do some, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Blue
God, I'm excited to read Way of Kings. Blue says, for Austin or Minnie in chat, how many 10-year-olds do you think you could beat up?
Oh my God. How many 10-year-olds do you think I could
One
beat
at a
up?
time?
Yeah.
I would
one
say
at a time or all at once?
An unlimited amount.
You just...
I don't really know, like, the only thing that would stop me would be getting tired.
Sure.
Like, I don't actually think that, like, 10-year-olds could hurt me
like,
that much.
A 10-year-old throwing a punch, I think would barely hurt me. You know what I mean?
You bruise so easily, though.
I bruise easily. It doesn't mean those bruises hurt.
Yeah. The problem is I don't think that... Weaponless, I don't know that you could do enough damage back.
Yeah.
right? Whereas I think that, like, I could take out a lot of 10-year-olds one at a time with a kick.
I have never been in a fight. I have slapped someone once in my life, and that is it.
Because the first 10-year-old I, like, beat pretty easily. And then I...
What a conversation.
Get a bone out of their body to use as a weapon on the other 10-year-olds. And once I have, like, a, like, sharpened, like, cracked piece of, like, maybe, like, a femur or, like, an arm bone, then I'm just stabbing with something sharp. So I feel like I could really, like... I could kill a lot of 10-year-olds with that without too much energy use. Faba moves, like, depends on a 10-year-old. Some of those little shits fight big and dirty as hell. I just said that I was going to kill a 10-year-old, rip a bone out of its body, and use that to stab people. If you don't think I'm fighting twice as dirty as that 10-year-old is, then you are incorrect, my friend.
It depends. Are we fighting 10-year-olds in the U.S. or not? Because, like, if they bring a gun, I'm fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying. They could just, like, pull one off their daddy's wall, and then I'm kind of screwed. So, I don't know. If we're fighting in Canada, I think I have a better chance. I think I got a better chance.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Okay, but if it's the U.S. and they're not armed with guns, they are not going to be in shape.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Maybe,
like,
yeah. Maybe.
American children are at, like, a historic low in terms of, like, physical condition.
Yeah. Guys, don't skip phys ed class.
Have you seen what Americans used to do for phys ed?
No.
Those kids used to do, like, 25 pull-ups. The American, like, presidential physical education thing used to be nuts. I was watching a TikTok, it was a YouTube video that had been, like, you know,
did you ever do the beep test?
Yeah, fucking beep test is crazy.
I like the beep test.
Beep test is... Well, I'm asthmatic, though, right? So beep test for me was like...
Fair.
You want me to have an asthma attack.
I liked beep test because I was, like, one of the last men standing. You know what I mean?
But, like, yeah, no. The American physical, like, expectations used to be so wild. And, like, stuff that, like, I could never have done as a kid. But was, like, in, like, the 50s was, like, the expected physical... It was crazy. Really, really crazy.
Yeah, we did like a test that was like beep test, and then we did like a sit-up test and like a push-up test or whatever, and like I just kind of like got through those. Like I don't ever really feel like I was ever pushed to my physical limit in phys ed class.
Yeah. People are saying they did it when they were kids. Yeah, apparently what happened was we got worse at it, and so they got rid of it because, like, kids couldn't do it anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, so many kids were failing that they got rid of the test. But nowadays, like, you know, when I see kids now, I don't see kids play outside.
MP, I just want to say that, like, stretching is not impossible for men. I have danced with men who are very flexible. A lot of men just neglect their flexibility.
Well, yeah, but that you have to, like, be doing it constantly to have it, right?
Yeah, which is why phys ed class should be like, hey, 3 times a week, you know.
But the presidential fitness test was like once a year. They'd be like, you have to do all these things. And
no,
it's
see,
like,
you
well,
should
fuck.
like you should like train for it through the year. You know what I'm saying? Like that should be like part of the course.
Yeah, it's 60 sit-ups in a minute,
yeah.
20 pull-ups in 2 minutes, run a mile under like 10 minutes. Kids these days cannot do that. I couldn't do that.
I did 2 of those 3 things, yeah. I couldn't do pull-ups, but we did push-ups instead of pull-ups.
Yeah. So, like,
and
I don't know, 10-year-olds in, like,
1950
1950 that could do that shit, I would have a harder time. But 10-year-olds now...
Oh, but I wasn't 10. I was, like, 16.
The 10-year-old would have to put down their Nintendo Switch long enough to fight me, and, like, I'm just not worried about it.
Yeah. I want to say I've also never done a pull-up in my life, but I did do gymnastics and I did do uneven bar. So, like, I think that, like, my, like, perception of what a pull-up is would be different. Like, I've never done, like, a pull-up like this, but I did so much shit, like, with those, like, movements incorporated into it. I feel like I could say that I have technically maybe done a pull-up at some point.
All right, Clarice, what was your high from Unsouled, book 1? Probably second half.
Blue asked a last-minute question for a crazy prediction, if you have any, so...
When he does finally get to the Dread God, he won't fight it. He'll befriend it. He'll have used everything he learned to realize that it's the system of combat that's the problem.
Yeah.
And that he will actually beat the god by just being kind to it.
Sure, yeah, okay. Uh-huh.
What's your crazy prediction?
My prediction is that they fall into a blue pool and show up in the Cosmere universe.
Okay, AMP, I love the message that you sent. It's very long, and I'm not going to read the whole thing right now on stream. Appreciate you putting all that there, but it is very long. Okay. What is your high? That's just a lot to read.
Yeah, no, that is fair. My high is Lindon figuring out how to do some shady shit because it makes me laugh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which thing in specific?
Which one specifically? I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see the like splitting the cores thing coming.
Okay.
That one was definitely like, I don't know. They were honestly like a lot of them were great. I'll go with the splitting the cores. I think that sets up some really interesting future stuffs.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your low?
Honestly, Ram. The bully.
Sure.
Yeah.
He is there to be bully and has no personality.
Yeah, and honestly, like, he is sort of the thing that Lindon overcomes in the second half, and just, I don't know, he just wasn't interesting enough as, like, Lindon's kind of nemesis in those scenes.
Right.
And I just didn't, yeah, he dragged the whole second half of the book down for me, and other stuff I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your low?
I think it's gotta be that I definitely understand absolutely nothing about this book.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it. So that's fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to figure that out, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your high?
I just like Jaren as a character. I think she's
Fair.
really interesting. I think that she, like, holds honor in a way that feels real. I think that she's just so... She's such a breath of fresh air at the end of this book, where I'm like, oh, I could actually, like, see myself enjoying the two of them working together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, reading Jaren, I was like, oh, finally there's someone for him to talk to.
Yeah.
We can get a little bit out of the internal monologue and getting a little bit more into the, just into, like, character interactions with someone who isn't just a total douche nozzle. So I liked her a lot. She was kind of the you know, I think that she is the best thing about the whole book.
Yeah.
As a character, as a, like, device for the plot to move forward through. I still wish that, like, there was someone in the valley more powerful than her. I think it would have been interesting to, like, leave something behind that they weren't quite able to outmatch yet. But other than that, I think that as a character, she brings it in a way that I didn't feel like the other supporting cast of this book did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted more from his mom.
Yeah.
But there's just nothing. She didn't, like, like, one thing that I think could have helped is if his mom had, like, sent him off with something that she'd forged. Like, we're told that she makes stuff, but I don't feel like I really could name one thing that she makes.
No.
You know what I mean? And, like, her sending him off with something helpful would have been nice.
Yeah.
Just anything to give any of these characters some sort of dimension. And I felt like until Jaren, it didn't exist. And then Jaren shows up and is, like, such a character.
Yeah, I agree.
And it really felt like that kind of was the shift. It was just too late in this book for me, but not for the series.
Yeah, for sure.
No.
Yeah, I hear you.
His mom made him. That's helpful. That's facts.
You know what? Sure, yeah.
That's facts.
That's fair. Johnny Coleman, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for that super chat. I don't think we own Way of Kings.
Is it not on the shelf in there?
Go look.
I don't.
While Claris goes to look for the Way of Kings book that I don't know if we own or not, this podcast was brought to you by MissMountGaming.com. Use code nerdynightly15 for 15% off your order. 15% off your order at nerdynightly15, MissMountGaming.com. Go do that. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you don't, hit the dislike button. Leave me in comments. I just kicked my laptop down below because the algorithm god is hungry and we must feed her. This episode, that algorithm goddess was Jaren because she's great. And I liked her a lot. If you want to watch us play Dungeons and Dragons on Saturday, we will be live this week. Live episode without Rob, no Caligaro Moonfire, but we'll be live at 1 p.m. Eastern with Session 18 of Astral Dusk, the Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen story. And Episode 3 of the Candela Obscura show that we did went live yesterday. If you could go give that a, watch 10 seconds of it and a like today, that would be actually huge. That would actually, I can't even tell you how huge that would be for us. So we're trying to grow that other channel. And so if you could go like the video, we don't even come up. There we are.
Yeah, go give it a like.
And
cowards.
let it play muted in the background.
For 10 seconds.
For as long as you want.
That's all, yeah.
Nope.
That's not the link.
Here, I'll just post it. And then just help us out, bro.
Help a bro out, okay?
Wait, we have this book?
The Maesters of the Citadel, who kept the histories of restaurants. Come on.
What the fuck is this?
You could have let me get through a sentence.
I heard Maester and went, this is not fucking Way of Kings.
That's what I thought it was going to be funny. I wanted you to be like, wait, is this... Come on.
George R. R. Martin is a freak.
Yeah. What the fuck?
This is just an image of a bunch of naked women getting stabbed.
Wow.
There's pictures in here.
It's a picture book. It was going to be a funny joke and you took it away from me.
I think the funny joke was me getting upset.
Ambi, thank you for that super chat.
I guess we need to buy Way of Kings.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we do need to get the book. Yeah, AMP says get the Kindle version. Which we probably should.
I don't even have my iPad in here.
Do you know where the Kindle is? No, we can't get it on the Kindle because it didn't connect, remember?
No, it did. Remember, I fixed it so that you could read the book. And then you read the book because I fixed the Kindle.
I don't know if I actually used it.
Yes,
okay.
You did.
Did I?
Yep, you did.
I don't remember.
Thank you for the super chat, Amp. All right, let me buy it really quick. God damn it. The end of the show. What a mess. Amazon. Way of Kings. Kindle edition. Oh my god. Purchased.
Okay.
You talk to chat for a sec while I try and get it downloaded. Yeah, you read to chapter 12 on here.
Yeah, sure. Probably. How much of the Prelude are you reading? I'll send it to your Discord. Like, the couple sentences? I mean, we're going to have to get it anyways. The Kindle is just like... Yeah. I don't know how to use it.
How do you get to the main menu from a book?
Don't know. Kind of just like hit things. Well, now you can scroll through the whole book we were already reading. Apparently we don't know how to use a Kindle. Tap the top of the screen.
Oh!
Thank you. It's for free on the Sanderson site, at least the first chapters. That might be easier. Oh, wait. There it is. There it is.
It's downloading. It's queued to download.
All right. Well, then Google it.
Okay, Brandon's Way of Kings chapter 1. Or no, Way of Kings Prelude?
Prelude or prologue? Which one is it?
I love that we know.
Prelude or prologue?
Way of Kings Prelude.
Wait, there's a prelude and a prologue.
Prelude.
Prelude.
Yeah,
okay,
this is right.
checking.
Okay, here we go. Everyone ready? Kalak rounded a rocky stone ridge and stumbled to a stop before the body of a dying thunderclast. The enormous stone beast lay on its side, rib-like protrusions from its chest broken and cracked. The monstrosity was vaguely skeletal in shape, with unnaturally long limbs that sprouted from granite shoulders. The eyes were deep red spots on the arrowhead face, as if created by a fire burning deep within the stone. They faded. Even after all these centuries, seeing a thunderclast up close made Kalak shiver.
That's too many.
The beast's hands was as long as a man was tall. He'd been killed by hands like those before, and it hadn't been pleasant. Of course, dying rarely was.
All right, cool. Well, I love that for Kalak. Johnny Coleman, thank you for that super
I just think when my brother was a kid, he came downstairs one time and was like, "Mommy, the crack got bigger," because the crack between his bed and the wall had gotten so big that he fell in. And so the crack.
The wall was broken?
No. So like his bed had kept moving away from the wall. And so he came downstairs and we're all sitting there and he's like, "The clack got bigger." And now that's all I can think of is that clack. The clack got bigger, you guys. The clack. We still make fun of him to this day for it. Johnny Coleman, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you.
This was gold. This was our best show yet.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
No. No, it wasn't. And that's okay. Because we've had some just really amazing shows and they're hard to top, of course.
This was the most middle of the road book club.
No, I had fun.
Is the main character's name Kalak?
Don't forget the prologue is a reaction chapter.
Yeah. We'll react to it. But not the prelude, right? Prologue.
We did react here. Right? Oh, wait. The prologue, not a prelude. Okay,
so the prelude is like not.
Barely. Okay.
But then the prologue is. The prologue is called To Kill.
Love that.
Sorry for a mediocre book club. We'll be back next week with the best book club you've ever seen in your life.
The bestest.
The two of us together.
Just the
like
two
Rama
of
Lama
us.
Lama Kadinga da Ding da Dong.
Remembered forever, like Shubop Shuwadwadi.
Shibbity doop doo doo.
No.
Chang chang, changity chang.
What the? Do you know the order of the lyrics?
We'll always be like one.
This guy doesn't know Greece and he says he studied musical theater.
Yeah. The last time I did Greece, I was 15 years old.
Oh, I've never done Greece.
I was Johnny Casino?
Johnny Casino? Who the fuck
Who
is
sings
Johnny?
the hand jive?
Oh, I don't fucking know.
He's got a name. Before I was born late one night, bam, 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 bam. My mama said everything's alright. The doctor had my mom lay down, and she started bouncing all around.
Born to hand jive, baby.
Line Edition, thank you for the super chat.
Super chat.
Good luck on Edition. Thank you so much. Do we have a schedule done up for Way of Kings? Not yet. We're trying to figure out our own con. I'll have it up today, though.
Yeah, because we're gone. Yeah, there's a couple things.
We got some cons. One of those episodes will be from LA.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yes. We'll have to, we'll put out a schedule for you guys. We can do that today. We can figure that out. We can sit down and look at it. So, thanks. Get out of here.
Bye. Oh, Smut Corner. They'll fuck.
Oh.
When they turn 18. Because they're kids. So when they turn 18, they can have sex.
Good for them.
If you are under 18, A, don't watch our show. Just don't. We don't want you here. But B, don't have sex till you're 18.
Yeah, that works.
Your hands will get hairy or something.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Bye.